This is Monty in the Morning, the show Phoenix Magazine readers voted #1 talk radio show in Arizona.
#1 during your morning commute.
#1 whenever news breaks during your day.
And #1 whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, man. How the heck are you? Good morning, Jake.
Hello.
Good to see you, friend.
You too.
As again, Jake is adjusting dials without permission. Oh, kids these days, the Monty Show, as always, presented by the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. Did you know they handle Social Security as well? Yeah, you need to apply. It's a big, huge process. Get to UtahAdvocates.com. Chat with them online right now. The best injury attorneys in the business, the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. We have D-Day in the Pac-12.
Breaking!
Yes, indeed. The UC Board of Regents will meet to discuss UCLA's future. Should UCLA stay in the Pac-12? Or should UCLA vacate the Pac-12 and head to the Big Ten? We'll talk about UCLA and the Pac-12 coming up. What about Bo Nix and Go Ducks? Bo Nix looks like he's out. You'll hear from a teammate who will tell you why and how. Can the Ducks beat your Utah Utes without Bo Nix? I don't see any way that the Ducks win without Bo Nix. If he doesn't play and play well, thigh/knee contusion. I just don't see how they win that game. Yeah. How many wins will the Utah Jazz have? Who's the best player in the NBA? Now, Jake, you are a noted Golden State Warrior homer.
Right, a homer.
You know, your favorite player, obviously, next to Devin Booker, is Steph Curry.
Right.
Did you see what he did last night?
Yeah, 50-piece nugget.
No, he lost to the best player in the NBA, Devin Booker, who not only continues to defy the Kardashian curse, but he also is a scoring machine. He cannot be stopped. I don't know why people even try.
I know.
Devin Booker's the best player in the history of men's basketball ever, period. Okay, there you go.
Congratulations, but that's bullshit.
What's up, Kurt Myers? First one in. As always, good to see you, Kurt. Hey, don't forget that the Monty Show will be live at Super Chicks in Ogden on Riverdale Road.
Ogden.
It's actually Riverdale, but technically Riverdale. Right out there by our old friends at Kia. Wasatch Front Kia.
1140 West Riverdale Road in Riverdale.
That's right. Super Chicks. I appreciate everybody who tweeted with us. Jake and I actually went to Super Chicks. He humiliated me by getting, avocado toast or asking for.
It's a Bacavo chicken sandwich.
We walk
it's got
in,
bacon and avocado.
We walk into Super Chicks and there's this very nice young lady at the register, and Jake's like, "Hey, by the way, can I have a chicken burrito and
hey guys,
hold the jalapenos?"
Hold the jalapenos.
And she's like, "Excuse me, sir, we don't serve chicken burritos here at Super Chicks." So Jake had to get a chicken sandwich. Is that exactly how it went down, Jake?
Yeah, that's precisely what happened. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I don't think it is.
I tried to get a chicken burrito at a Sando place.
Yeah, That's what I'm saying. By the way, Jesse Harsh says, shout out to Ogden.
Yeah, shout out to Ogden.
Shout out to Ogden.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to work because I think the biggest story in sports this morning is UCLA leaving the Pac-12. And, we've talked about this a lot, and we've talked about the fact that the UC Board of Regents today are scheduled to talk about UCLA with UCLA and make this decision on if UCLA can stay in the Pac-12 or should they be allowed to vacate and go to greener pastures in the Big Ten. I have no doubt, and maybe little doubt is the right way to say it, but I have very little doubt that UCLA is going to the Big Ten. I think at the end of the day, it's what's best for the UC system, and I think they know that. If you block UCLA to the Big Ten, you're probably blocking Cal to the Big Ten, which would be bad for everybody. So I think ultimately UCLA ends up in the Big Ten. But Jake, I guess the question is, without UCLA, is the Pac-12 a viable conference?
Yeah, I think, is it a viable conference? That's a really tough question to answer right now, just because of, expansion and all these rumors about like who the PAC might add and what this conference looks like. But I certainly think it's fair to say that without UCLA, which admittedly has not been some amazing football program over the last decade, but is definitely a big-time educational facility. It's definitely a big-time school.
Institution.
Yeah, an institution of higher learning where we don't know how to win football games. I think that the Pac-12 has a path forward without UCLA, but I also think that, this just comes down to money. Like, I just hope everyone understands that. Like, this isn't about, like, travel plans or recruiting or any other detail inside of football. Like, yes, those are topics, those are things that will be broached, and those are things that need to be figured out, and we're going to talk about those things today. But this conversation, and particularly in the Pac-12, because they struggle so much with distribution and bringing money in, this is a money conversation in many different ways. So to me,
Why'd you stop?
Doing?
What do you mean?
What are you doing right now?
Cracking open a rock star.
You start talking shit.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Well, why would you? I was on a flow right there.
Nah, you're never on a flow. The point is,
come on,
that UCLA leaving the Pac-12 is a death knell. Why do we have to like spin this? And well, maybe if they got Super Chicks to offer up free chicken sandwiches, deluxe chicken sandwiches to every school.
Cabos.
Listen. Without UCLA, the Pac-12 is dead. And we can sit here and spin and hope and wonder. USC's gone. Without UCLA, the Pac-12 is dead. They don't have Los Angeles. They don't have Southern California. They have nothing, frankly, south of Stanford, south of Palo Alto. That's a problem.
Yeah.
You've got, UC Berkeley and Stanford, and then everything else is, frankly, east and north. And that's just not going to work because you don't have Los Angeles anymore.
That's an issue.
So I guess my point is this even a conversation? Well, it is, because I think that George Kliavkoff, in my opinion, has been dishonest and disingenuous with the numbers that he has given to the Board of Regents. And there's been all of these, conversations about, well, what is their impact? Well, the impact is that you're making $34 million a year per school in the Pac-12, and in the Big Ten, UCLA's looking at a $75 million per season payday just from their TV rights. That doesn't even include postseason. That doesn't even include all the other revenue that would be higher because of the Big Ten. Nobody wants to talk about that. I also think what UCLA has said about USC and being a travel partner with USC and splitting charter flights, and I think that makes perfect sense. And what I love is the homers in the media that cover the Pac-10 are like, well, that's a huge rivalry. Nobody's going to want to – USC and UCLA are not going to want to fly together. So wait, let me get this right. You're telling me – and I'm not talking about football, because obviously USC and UCLA – are not going to share a charter to the same areas. That's not going to happen. But if USC and UCLA basketball are heading back to play, let's say Maryland and Michigan State, they're going to stay there for a week, and they're going to share a charter flight for each of those three areas so that they lower their cost. It's easier on the student, and they're doing these jamboree situations where they go and they stay out east for a week. They have full educational infrastructure, and they play athletic games. And it keeps them within the legal parameters of how many hours kids are allowed to spend on their chosen sport.
Yeah.
If the UC Board of Regents is looking at this as a way to help the Pac-12 survive, that's a complete mistake. And it wouldn't surprise me if that happens, because California is so dysfunctional.
Yeah, and I think that there are a lot of rules. There are a lot of things that they do have to abide by. But I just think that, again, when it comes to making money, like the Pac-12 is in this situation because they haven't done well enough. And I first want to say I think it's super courageous that that USC and UCLA sort of took the leap because, frankly, no one else is doing what these two are doing. No one else has said, yeah, we're going to change course here and we're going to change conferences.
Yeah.
And, it's also important to understand that SC and UCLA are in two very different positions here. Like, SC is a private institution, can do whatever the hell they want to do, right? Which is why they're going to the Big Ten, right? But UCLA being a public institution, being part of the system, that's why this Board of Regents thing is so important because they have to make the final decision. But I totally agree. Like, it doesn't make sense financially for a school who basically operates at a loss every single year and has for a while. Why would you not, approve a decision that takes you closer to being profitable, that takes you closer to being even every single year? I don't know the numbers well enough to tell you if by going to the Big Ten, they're all of a sudden going to become profitable.
But I don't think anybody knows those numbers.
And that's the problem. I don't even think George Kliavkoff knows the numbers.
I would agree.
That's why you hear asinine things like back of the envelope calculations. That's why, to your point, he never wants to answer the questions about, well, hey, how much, he did this press conference, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was.
At Pac-12 Basketball Media Day.
And they asked him, hey, how much would, roughly, the reporter didn't even ask him for a specific number. The reporter said, hey, what's the ballpark on how much UCLA would either save or, how much closer would they be to profiting by moving to the Big Ten? George goes off into this whole thing about how it's going to cost them more and the travel expenses offset any profit they would make, which just is not true. And that's why you're hearing about sharing charters and working together and basically trying to create this environment to save costs.
A lot of it is that I think USC understands that there is absolute value in having a travel partner like UCLA. And it does not work for football. But football is very different. It is a 2-day travel turnaround, and teams travel across the country all the time. We've seen it with Utah going to Florida. We've seen it with BYU going just about all over the country. East Carolina coming to Provo, exactly right. Or, BYU going to USF. In football, it's not that big of a deal. It's basketball, and it is the other lower-end sports that you have to worry about.
That don't have 53-man rosters, or I don't know, in college football have huge rosters.
Right, but the other point here is what you talked about. George Kliavkoff didn't want to answer the question about specific numbers because I don't think he can back it up with facts. He said at Pac-12 Media Days, and then he went on the Wilner-Canzano Love Fest that is absolutely a joke of a podcast because it's not credible because all they do is, slurp and splash on the Pac-12. And he's like, well, we did some back of the envelope calculations.
Right.
And then when he's asked about that at Pac-12 Basketball Media Day, he's like, well, you can go look them up. Well, I'm not going to give those to you.
Right.
Because you don't have them. You don't have them. You cannot back up with factual calculations that UCLA is going to lose money going to the Big Ten.
Facts.
I don't think you can back that up.
Nope.
I don't. And having talked to people in the TV industry on a regular basis about this, most people's concerns for UCLA are that the people who run the UC educational system are not sports people. They are doctorates. They are educators. They are professors. They are politicians. And those people don't care about winning and losing football games or basketball games. And so I don't think they care about the money from the Big Ten.
Yeah.
All they care about is, well, we have to do what's best for the California educational system. But doesn't that mean you have to care about winning and losing football games in the Big Ten?
Yes.
And I'm telling you, yeah, absolutely you do.
And by the way, I think we need to get into this nonsense about the fact, some people are saying that, USC and UCLA are this rivalry and that they would never share a plane or that they would never work together in business. They would never work together to save money or to create a better environment for the student athlete. And I have some unfortunate news for UCLA fans. You haven't won enough, not nearly enough, to be considered a rival to USC. Do you play in each other's backyards? Are you both LA teams? Do you have a bit of fun with it when you play each other? Absolutely, right? Absolutely. I'm sure that tailgating in the parking lot at USC and UCLA games is loads of fun. But I'm talking about in business. This is not a rivalry. You are not rivals to the point where you would not even consider doing business together. And so that, I think you just have to clearly understand that. They may play in each other's backyards, but they are definitely going to do business together. This is not, Georgia, Alabama. This is not, Nick Saban and Jimbo. That's not what we're talking about here.
Well, the Homer Pac-12 media is trying to compare USC and UCLA to Auburn and Alabama. And I got news for you. It ain't nearly Auburn and Alabama. I can tell you that I work there. I was one of the producers of the USC Athletic Radio Network, and I can tell you legitimately, there's too many beaches. There's too many golden racks and hot chicks in bikinis. There's too many movie stars. There's too many hiking trails. There's too many theme parks. There's too many everything else to do in Southern California to have one of the most heated rivalries in college sports. It's not BYU and Utah.
No.
It's not Auburn and Alabama. It's not Florida, Georgia line.
With all due respect.
It's none of that. It's not Florida State, Miami. It's not Texas, Oklahoma.
Notre Dame SC.
It's not. It's not. And the thing that I think you have to understand is there is a lot of, the word is apathy. Oh, UCLA won? All right, cool. Go Bruins. Hey, by the way, what time's our sushi reservation? Like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's how it is. On the USC side of things, yeah, football fans are a lot more passionate at USC than they are at UCLA. That's from personal experience. And I tell you all the time on this show, I have a ton of USC alum friends. I'm a Notre Dame fan. It's great fun. It's great fodder. They care
There is
far.
no question.
Yeah, they care far more about beating Notre Dame than they do about UCLA.
Yeah.
Far more. But I also think that USC fans understand how important UCLA is to them going to the Big Ten, because it makes USC's life much, much, much more difficult not to have a travel partner with UCLA.
Yeah.
It just
100%.
does. So it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to call USC and UCLA one of the best rivalries in college athletics. It's not. It just is not. And I can think of it's akin to Cal and Stanford. If a tree falls in the woods and no bear is there taking a dump, does anybody even know the tree fell down?
It's ridiculous.
I don't think that's the exact.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a
Is it time
poor
to
example.
do another Cabela's segment about trees falling down?
Duck hunt.
Yeah.
Anyway,
How about that?
the point is,
Wow.
it's not like even Washington State. The Apple Cup is more heated. Like I look at rivalries and I say, hey, you know what? I would tell you it's very much like BYU and Utah State. That's what it's akin to.
Yeah.
It's not BYU and Utah. It's BYU and Utah State. That's what I would compare the USC UCLA rivalry to.
You have to win for it to be a rivalry.
Yeah, and they don't win. And the amazing thing is this rivalry has brought bots into the chat. And it is 6:20 Mountain Time.
Come on.
It is 6:20 Mountain Time and bots are in the chat.
Come on.
I mean,
I know the show is good, but it can't be that good.
I'm just saying, let's get some of your thoughts on this, because do you guys care about this? Do you guys care about UCLA leaving the Pac-12? I'm curious where you come down on this. I
think it's definitely a big story. I think that,
I think it's a huge story. I care a lot about it. I do.
don't think that the average college football fan necessarily cares about the concept of UCLA leaving, but I think they care about the concept of the Pac-12 burning in the ground. That's what I think they care about.
You do.
In this UCLA.
Wait, hold on. Do you think Georgia, Florida, Boston College fan, any Big Ten fan, even any Big Ten fan who's largely impacted by this, do you think any Big Ten fan cares about UCLA leaving the Pac-12?
Yeah, I think they do, because I think when things like the college football playoff ranking comes out and the Pac-12 has 6 in there and they're trying to flex and make a statement and stuff, I think if you're a Big Ten fan, you're looking at your new friends coming into the conference.
I do think it's impressive, by the way.
Yeah.
I do think it's impressive that the Pac-12 has 6 in this week's college football playoff top 25, which, by the way, you detest. You don't think there should be a top 25.
This is complete garbage, but that's
I'm sorry, did you say this is complete garbage?
The idea that there is no thought put into context with the top 25. First of all, we shouldn't even have a top 25 for college football playoff rankings, because I got news for Oregon State at 25. You're not going to the college football playoff. So we don't even need a
North
top
Carolina
25.
State.
But Kentucky is the greatest thing since sliced footballs in week 1.
But Penn State.
Come on. But my point is,
what I don't understand is, why are you such a red ass about it?
Because
it seems like somebody crapped on your pillow, and you're like, I can't believe this. I am so upset that there's a college football playoff top 25.
I'm upset.
Oh my God.
There is 25. It should be It should be the top 10, right? Like, I don't give a damn about the 16th team in the nation. Right? Who cares?
But we are the Beavers, and we play at Research Stadium.
Neat. Get some more wood out. You're going to need a bigger dam.
Corvallis, Oregon, bitches.
Jesus. I mean, you know what I mean? But my point is
You're
if you're
so
a Big
upset
Ten,
about it.
if you're a Big Ten fan, you're looking at this graphic right here. You're saying, wow.
We got 3 teams in.
Yeah.
What?
And by the way, next year we're probably going to have 5 because we're getting SC and UCLA. Right? And then, so
2
that's
years.
why I think, or 2 years. That's why I think that's why I think a Big Ten fan would care about this. Not because there's some passionate fan base for the Pac-12. Nobody gives a damn about the Pac-12 out east. Let's just be really clear on that. Nobody in Georgia or Florida or, in the Midwest even cares about the Pac-12. But when it comes time to do business and you're going to add teams, now we start to care because it impacts them. So that's why I think they care.
Okay, I'm not quite such a bitter, jaded prick as Jake is. I would tell you that I think there are corners of SEC country. I have a hard time believing that Arkansas cares about the Pac-12.
Yeah.
How many people in the SEC even know that there's a UC Board of Regents or that UCLA is impacted by that?
How many people even
Probably
know
not
what a
many.
UC Board of Regents is?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Boyd Lake, how the heck are you? I want the Utes in the Big 12, so yeah, I care about, but not in a concerned way.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
That makes a lot of sense.
But that
makes a lot of
Boyd.
sense.
Boyd is someone who follows football in the state of Utah. So Utah going to another conference, okay, I'm obviously going to care about that.
Yep, Les Wayman, good morning to you. How the heck are you? What's up, M. Alvarez? Cody Strickland says, it's Alex Caruso for best NBA player. Come on, boys. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Neville93, good morning to you. He says, what's up, casual fans? Jesse Harsh says, morning, brother, and UCLA will to wherever will fill up their stadium. So nowhere. Nobody's...
Wow.
Don't be bitter. M. Alvarez says, Jeff Hornacek, best player ever. I want some of what you're smoking.
Right.
Lord Radon says UCLA is gone, too. You really do you guys, at the end of the day, is UCLA going to the Big Ten? I think it's 80-20.
I think it's a formality.
I think there's going to be some red-ass politicians who are like, I can't believe that we would stress the academic abilities and culture of these fine students just to make more money.
Like, for instance,
there's those people. But I also think there's 2 regions who are like, hey, man, we got to compete for a national championship. We need a college football playoff, Brad. Like, wow, Bruins, let's go. Yeah. Like, there are those guys.
Pause, bro. Pause.
The problem is it's the state of California. They are far more worried about figuring out regulation, taxes, budget. They have much larger issues than whether UCLA is going to the Big Ten or not. So I also think their biggest concern is, okay, well, can we squeeze UCLA to get Cal more money? And if the answer is yes, I think that UCLA winds up in the Big Ten. Because UCLA, by the way, is going to be at the Board of Regents. They're going to speak. They're going to be asked questions like...
This is like the meeting to decide everything. Yeah, everyone's going to be at the table.
Yeah, I mean, it's on the table here. Like it is what it is. G. Lee says San Diego State. Why, yes, sir. Lord Radon says $75 million a year in the Big Ten just to start. Just to start is exactly right,
Yeah.
Lord Radon. You are exactly right. M. Alvarez says money talks and George's bull ass is going to walk UCLA right out of the Pac-12. You would think so. Eric and Raleigh, the Pac-0 is dead regardless of whether UCLA stays or not. Well, it gets them probably $40 million a year if UCLA stays. So it's a big deal. What's up, San Diego State Aztec? Jesse Harsh says the real story is BYU's men's basketball team pulled out a thriller against Missouri State. By the way, anybody see Danny Ainge and Ryan Smith? Buddy sitting next to each other at the BYU Hoops game.
Neat.
You know. Boyd Lake says UCLA needs their own stadium. They need their own stadium on campus in Westwood.
Yeah.
The problem is they play in Pasadena, California.
In the hills of the rich folks.
Yeah, and like I don't know how many of you have been to the Rose Bowl or not, but having lived there and I've been to the Rose Bowl 100 times. It's in a neighborhood. Like, I mean, think about the city that you live in. Look out your front door and imagine that across the street, instead of Steve and Carol, the Rose Bowl is sitting there.
Keep it real.
That's what it is in Pasadena. It is up in the hills, and they dropped a football stadium. And really what they did is put a stadium and build a bunch of houses.
You know where the Capitol is? In Salt Lake, right? You go up the hill in the avenues. Imagine that's the Rose Bowl.
That's crazy.
Like, that's literally what it is.
That's crazy. Anytime we talk college football on this show, it is presented by our good friends at the Barbecue Pit Stop. Oh, my God. You already know that they have the best equipment, right? You already know that it's Traeger, Yoder, Big Green Egg, Camp Chef, you name it, they've got it. And as I said yesterday on the show, every man needs a good set of tongs.
I'm for real.
Right? Like, hey, give me some tongs.
Some tongs.
I gotta turn the wings, rotate the
Now, are
pizza.
you more of a metal guy or a plastic
I
guy?
am not a plastic guy, dumbass. They melt under heat. I don't know if you know that. Right? So we're all metal on this show with some rubber guards on the side.
They melt under heat.
Just kind of a thing with plastic and stuff.
Yeah.
Polytechnic institutions. Anyway, the point is, every man needs a good set of tongs. I don't know what's
Y'all feel me?
The synapses are not firing. The point is, they have great tongs. They have aprons. They have every piece of equipment you need. All those. They have these cool little temperature guns. You know how you need to figure out your meat. Hey, sweetheart,
Sorry,
how
I thought
hot's
you
my
said
meat?
You got to figure out your meat.
Hey, check the temperature of my meat. They have little, like those radar, those
temperature guns, radar,
temperature things and
radon
stuff. They have those probes that you stick inside your meat that kind of hurts, but you do it anyways.
Seems like a great opportunity to slurp and splash.
They have all that stuff too. Technology, you name it, they've got it. They have meat because they have butcher counters, absolutely. But they also have every rub, spice, wing dust, sauce.
They even make Traeger mats that you can put in front of your Traeger.
Which I actually think is baller, by the way.
Dude,
By the way,
come on.
I don't have one and I want one. So my guys at Barbecue Pit Stop, go ahead and drop one off.
Yeah, hook it up.
Let's get it done.
Casa de Monte.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, the point is, the mats, the Traeger mats that you put on the ground, like they're big rubber mats. They're orange with black Traeger writing on them.
Yes.
Amazing. I'm telling you, amazing. But it's the people at Barbecue Pit Stop, and I'm being all serious. The people at Barbecue Pit Stop are phenomenal. If you get on their website, bbqpitstop.com, and chat with them, you can say, hey, you know what? I'm smoking a turkey breast for Thanksgiving. You know, what kind of seasoning should I use on that? Hey, how long do I need to let that rest? Do I need to season it and then, wait before I put it on the grill, or can I just season it, toss it, and put it right on? There's a big difference. You probably need to let that seasoning break down the enzymes of your meat and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they'll give you all that advice. Whether you're a customer there or not, chat with them online, they'll tell you. And, oh, by the way, are you in Texas or Timbuktu and you want that asado seasoning that's the greatness that we always espouse about?
From Flavor Knuckles.
They'll mail it to you. You can order online, barbecuepitstop.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show, or check them out in any of their 5 Utah locations, north to south. We start up here in Logan, down to Layton, over to Murray, over to Lehigh, down to our good friends who are always on fire and sweating their asses off in St. George, because that's just what happens in the desert.
Yeah.
You name it, they've got it at barbecuepitstop.com. A couple more of your comments. It was probably over the top. D5 Terps Says people live in the past and think that things are the same. Kids aren't into rivalries like they used to, and technology will allow athletes to stay engaged in classes without a hitch. But D5, bro, it's academics, and you know what? If I don't have the right pencil sharpener on the wall in Mrs. Toomey's science class, oh shit. See, I think this is a phenomenal point.
Yeah.
School isn't school the way it used to be school. One of the things that came out of the Coco era is that we don't need to be in the building to work or go to class. So if you are in Baltimore, Maryland, or if you are in Chicago, Evanston, playing Northwestern, before you head up to East Lansing to take on Michigan State, that doesn't mean you're missing school. You can teleschool. You can telecommute to school.
The coronavirus.
They all have these little things, and I know it's crazy.
Careful.
Tablets and computers.
Yeah.
Like it's there. So a D5, I think that's an absolute right point. Exactly right. D5 Terps.
Yeah.
To which Lord Radon says, yeah, the only thing to worry about is the time difference of class when they are on the East Coast. Well, what it means is they get to sleep until 9 on the East Coast when their class starts at 7 on the West Coast. Or, hey, if my class is at 9 Pacific and I'm in, playing the Terps in Maryland, hey, guess what? That's noon. I can sleep a little later. Or I don't think it's the doom and gloom that people make it out to be.
It's really not. And by the way, even if it was, that's the price you pay for wanting to be an athlete. I mean, that's always been the trade-off. It's not ever. I feel like everyone makes it out to be some cakewalk to be a student athlete, and it's not. You're working 2 jobs. Like, trust me when I say I know what it's like to work like 3 jobs at once. We do it every day.
Yeah,
so like,
we do.
It's literally one of these things where it's the price you pay, but it's not really that heavy of a price.
No, and there are all kinds of studies about mental health and it damages, and I don't know if I buy that because I don't think we know. I truly don't think we know. And, I saw a couple of comments about, hey, they won't be able to take good notes in class. Are you kidding me? A, classes are posted online all the time. B, you have academic advisors, and I don't know how many people know this. I'm not going to say institutionally, but academic advisors take notes in class all the time. So you'll have
strategy, sir.
You'll have an academic liaison, let's say,
right,
that'll travel with the basketball team. They will watch the class live or on tape and take detailed notes for the players who are in that class. Like, this is not rocket science. So you can get this done. It's a matter of priorities and what your priorities are. And if you are on the UC Board of Regents, and probably justifiably so, your priorities should be the better academic health of the program.
Like, you understand that like for football, because football is very different than other sports. We've said that like 5 times today, but in this conversation, I think it's important to point it out.
Oh, and D5 Terps, exactly right. Classes get recorded all the time. Minimal interference. I think it's exactly right.
And that's my point. Like, if you're a football player, they're going to do that grunt work for you where they're going to get the material ready. And then you're just going to have to go in, work with them, and learn it and pass the class. That's how it works, man.
Yep. Let's see. Kurt Meyer says, hunting on the 9s brought to you by Cabela's.
Yeah, Cabela's.
Jesse Harsh says, yeah, it's a great segment. I get a good power nap during it. Okay. Let's see. Lord Radon says, I would think that if they are on the East Coast, they could just get a room on campus at Maryland, Rutgers, or wherever they are and do their stuff that day. What they do is, when you have a team that's traveling, a basketball team is the best example because I know this specifically. What they'll do is, in the hotel that they stay in, they will have a conference room, and they have blocks of time, and a lot of this happens at night. They have blocks of time where, hey, here's study hall on the road. And they have those academic advisors supervise study hall, and they work with the kids in their specific areas so that they still get that education and they get their academics done.
Yeah.
It's the reason that you have all academic athletic teams.
Like, do you see the picture that's being painted here? Like, they are football players that then get help to do the academic stuff, right?
Yeah.
They're basketball players that get a lot of assistance to do the academic stuff. Like, that is literally how it has to work.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's vital. I truly do. Let's see. Mike Maples says USC is the only PAC team with a shot at the college football playoff. I don't think so. I think that if Utah can beat Oregon, I think Utah's got a legitimate shot. And we'll talk the Utes and the Oregon Ducks. By the way, Bo Nix is in doubt. You'll hear why coming up at 7 o'clock, coming up in about 20 minutes. Jesse Harsh says, agreed, Jake. No one gives a flying fart about anyone past the top 10.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's exactly right. Brian Hornbeck agrees with you, says yes, top 10. Come on now. Mark Rasmussen pops in and says Trump 2024. Let's go. Well, thanks for that. Lord Radon says if academics come up, UCLA needs to point out how much more prestigious an academic conference the Big is. Yeah, for sure. I would agree with that. The time difference isn't doom or gloom, and it's the only thing I can come up with that may be an issue. Yeah, I agree. D5 Terp says 100% UCLA is gone. Movie Time Blues says the academic consortium, by the way, is called the BTAA. Correct. Boyd Lake. And rivalries are basic human psychology. Has the Holy War lost its intensity? Nope. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. D5 Terp says my neighbors' names are Steve and Carol.
That's cool.
Well,
Hey,
I said
Steve.
look out the front door. If Steve and Carol look out their front window.
Hey, Stephen Carroll.
That's awesome. Let's see. Movie Time Blues says Big Ten presidents would love Stanford. I think they absolutely would love Stanford and Cal, Washington and Oregon.
An institution of higher learning.
I think there's no doubt. There is absolutely no doubt. Let's see. UCLA is considering moving to SoFi Stadium. Provo Cougar fan. Yeah, I've heard that. But I also think that there is a lot of merit in an on-campus facility. I mean, I think San Diego State is the perfect example. The problem is if they build it on campus at UCLA is going to have to eat a little of their crow because you're not going to get 50,000 fans in a football stadium for UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not. And this is kind of what I've said about, for instance, BYU and Utah.
Right.
Oh, we've got to expand it. We've got to have more fans. Do you? Do you even lift? Can you get? Well, we got to have Lavelle Edwards should have 70,000 seats. You really think you could sell 70,000 BYU tickets every year?
Obviously not.
Come on now.
Are you serious?
Come on now.
Serious? No.
Serious?
Bro, you can't. And UCLA, if UCLA does what San Diego State did, build a 40,000 seat stadium. Do it. See how full it looks, because it will look full. It's embarrassing, in September and October when the Rose Bowl is empty. And it looks like in the Rose Bowl, because it's so massive, it looks like there's 5,000 fans there. It's embarrassing.
Doesn't make you feel responsible.
Yeah, it's so empty, it echoes. I kid you not. When the band plays, the acoustics are so bad in the Rose Bowl when it's empty. You can hear them when it's not full.
Yeah.
You can hear the band's music bouncing off of the walls, the seats in there. That's how embarrassing it is. Yet you go to a place like BYU where BYU fans are rabid. Like the Rock is one of the most underrated student sections in the country. And hey, we got 60,000 fans. And the problem is the corners aren't sold out. You have empty corner seats or at Rice Eccles or I think the smartest thing that Utah did is not expand the seating capacity to some massive 70,000 seat shrine.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to sell that place out. Please trust me when I tell you, don't do 70, do 50, and watch how much more full it feels. Watch how much more demand there is for tickets.
Yeah.
And what does demand do? Raises prices. You make more money on 50,000 instead of an empty 10,000 seats at 70,000.
Yeah.
That's the smart mathematics, in my opinion. I don't think that you can, I don't think you can do that. Brian Hornbeck says they have plenty of room at Maryland and Rutgers for opposing teams. Nobody cares about them. Nobody cares about Rutgers. Maryland is different. Maryland's got a great tradition of basketball and athletics down the chain. Like, Rutgers just sucks. Like, it is.
You guys just flat out suck.
I mean, you're not.
Because it's garbage.
Is Rutgers even relevant in any sport? I want to say their most successful sport is lacrosse. Men's lacrosse. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, next question.
Men's lacrosse, I believe. At Maryland, you know who Gary Williams is. You know about the basketball program. You know, Rutgers is just irrelevant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, anyway, we could go on and on. Let's see. D5 Terp says Stanford, Notre Dame to the Big Ten is next. I don't think so. I don't think you're ever going to get Notre Dame in a football conference. Why would you? Why would you if you're Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Notre Dame, and I know we've had this conversation before, and I know you're probably sick of me espousing about the tremendous awesomeness.
It's incredible.
Of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish package and stuff.
Yeah, the package.
But if you look at Notre Dame's schedule, they could easily be 9-1.
I'm a man.
Let's just chalk up Ohio State as a loss. Okay, that's one loss, right? Okay, I'm good with that. You should have beat Marshall. Who are we kidding? You should have beat Stanford. Who are we kidding? What would their record be if they had beat the two crappiest teams on their schedule? And they didn't.
Yeah.
They'd be 9-1 right now.
Sorry, folks, that's what it is.
They'd be Notre Dame. It'd be 9-1 and probably number 2 in the country. Okay, You lost to Ohio State. They'd be number 3 in the country. At 9-1, your only loss is to number 2 Ohio State. They'd be 3rd in the college football playoff rankings right now.
Yeah.
Why would Notre Dame join a conference? Why? It makes zero sense for Notre Dame football to go into a conference. They're making huge money on TV. They're going to get a bump in compensation.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? They're playing huge games. Like, if you look at the TV numbers on BYU Notre Dame, right? You look at the fact that they have a massive game to end the season with none other than the USC Trojans.
Uh-huh.
You look at that and you look at, hey, you're 9-1. That'd be number 3 Notre Dame versus number, 7, I think, USC.
Yeah.
Does it get much bigger than that on the weekend after Thanksgiving? No. Like, why would Notre Dame join a conference? It makes no sense at all. As we talk college football and UCLA to the Big Ten here on the Monty Show, presented by our good friends at the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. I just don't ever see them. I don't ever see them joining a conference. I really don't.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't, again, it's just not. These people are not going to do things that are illogical, right? Like, when you get to the regent level, when you get to that high up, like, you got to understand, like, it's literally, in my opinion, a P&L conversation, a profit and loss sheet conversation.
So it's not figurative, it's literal.
Yes, it's literal. Yeah.
Literal. Oh, no, please go ahead.
No, that's fine.
Anyway, the point is, I'm awesome and you're not.
Right.
A couple more of your comments. Don't forget, coming up in 6 minutes, we talk NFL QBs. Get ready to answer the question, who's the best quarterback in the NFL? Because I don't know who that is. I do not. And Deshaun Watson's back at practice. We'll talk about all that coming up in 5 minutes on Football at 50. Lord Radon says, I can play that game. Notre Dame could have lost to Navy. Okay, we can play that game. The only problem is they didn't lose to Navy. The only problem is they did beat Clemson. They did beat Syracuse. They did beat BYU. If they had beaten Marshall and Stanford, they would have wins over ranked opponents at BYU, Syracuse, and Clemson. And then if they beat USC, they'd have ranked wins over 4 ranked teams. Dude, they'd be in the college football playoff.
100%. 100%.
But you flipping lost to Marshall and Stanford. How did you lose to Stanford?
They're terrible.
Stanford sucks, bro.
They've got like 3 fans.
Bad. Stanford is so bad.
Yeah.
How did Notre Dame find a way to lose to Stanford? Somebody,
Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Because I honestly, I don't get it.
Yeah.
It is so mind-numbing that all 81 of you have not hit the like button on this show yet. I don't even know how to explain that. But even more mind-numbing
That was well done.
But even more mind-numbing is literally Stanford beat Notre Dame. Not figuratively. Anyway, I'm being a dick now.
Yeah.
Mike Maple. Whoa, what else is no fat ass? Mike Maple says Notre Dame can make decisions for themselves. I don't know what I slept well again. No way they give up that power joining anybody. I agree. There's just no reason for them to join a conference. Kurt Meyer says Notre Dame will not join the Big Ten until Michigan leaves the conference. Bad blood. Oh, no, I think anybody that thinks Notre Dame and Michigan shouldn't play every year is not a college football fan. Better rivalry, USC, UCLA, or Notre Dame, Michigan. Yeah, I agree. It's Notre Dame, Michigan. I mean, there's nothing to even talk about there. Nothing. Lord Radon, they did list TK Marshall and Stanford, you're living with if. They did lose to, I think is what you meant to. Yeah. But
isn't that the whole concept of the AP Top 25,
Yes.
the college football playoff rankings? Like, that's
Yes.
what we do in college football.
Yes.
It's asinine, in my opinion, but it's what we do.
Look at Boyd Lake, Mar frigging Scholl.
Yeah,
exactly.
you know what I
They
mean?
lost,
Like,
you
come
lost it.
on, dude.
You no, nobody loses to Stanford at football anymore. Nobody loses.
Bryce Love has been gone, bro.
Excuse
they
me,
don't
I'm
have
sorry.
anybody.
Christian McCaffrey ain't running through that door anytime soon.
Exactly.
My point is, nobody loses to Stanford. Well, Notre Dame.
Vexes me.
Like, how do you? I swear to God, if Notre Dame beats USC, I will strangle. I will find a stray cat and
motherfucking down ham
feed it milk. I will. It's so frustrating. By the way, real quick.
Yeah.
My dog legit has COVID. My dog.
How? Dude, how does this even happen?
You know how it happened.
Yeah, right, but they don't know how it happened.
You gave us COVID. We gave it to the dog.
Coronavirus.
Now, by the way, I've never tested positive for the cocoa.
So I said, yeah.
Is what it is. But so my dog has been struggling. He's 13 years old. He's a great dog.
Yeah, damn good dog.
He's been struggling, and he has a heart murmur, and we thought that's what it was. We called our regular vet, and they were like, no, nothing we can do. But my wife has been using this theory that he has the cocoa.
An antibody cocktail.
So she found a story online about a national study about human transmission of cocoa to animals.
Yeah, I've been immunized.
She calls a number, a vet answers, and you're like, well, hey, there's a vet in Cottonwood Heights that participates in this national study. Let me see if I can get you in.
Hey, guys.
The vet calls back 10 minutes later. It's like, yeah, if you can be there by 5 o'clock, they'll test your dog. My wife hops in the Jeep, takes the dog to the vet in Cottonwood Heights, and the vet's like, hey, by the way, did you know that he has a heart murmur that is right now 4 out of 5 is in terms of seriousness? I was like, whoa. What
the fuck are you talking about?
So this heart murmur that my regular vet says is no big deal turns out is 4 out of 5 on a serious level, and he needs to be taking a much more serious regimen of medication.
Yeah.
And they tested him for the cocoa, and this vet that's involved in the national dog cocoa thing.
Yeah, dog cocoa.
It's like, yeah, your dog exhibits all the signs of having cocoa. It's like, come on, man. Come on, man. But it was only $35, by the way.
Yeah.
So it was worth it. It was worth it. Tim Bruckmiller says, go Thundering Herd. How do I ban people on here real quick? Can you? Thundering Herd. Ban all. I don't know how to do that. Go Irish. Good to see you, Tim. I appreciate it. Notre Dame, Eric and Raleigh says, Notre Dame is a classic case of playing to the level of your opponent. Yep. Exactly right. Ruff's official. Good to see you. UCLA can't even fill half of the Rose Bowl. I would agree with that. Joey Zay, Z-A? Z-E-A-Y. Joe Z-A? Jose? Okay. Rose Bowl seats 100,000 plus, though. So why are you playing there?
Yeah. Why are you making yourself look small?
And then Mrs. Monty texts me and says, oh, my God, Rhino is a little better today. Yeah, my dog that has a cocoa is Rhino. I was holding him this morning before you showed up at the crib. I walked downstairs. Jake usually walks through my front door at 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
Like 4:20.
Yeah, that's right. He said 4:30.
Yeah, a.m. Dude, I woke up at 3:40 today, and was just like, ding, wide awake. Like, okay. Went downstairs at 4:20 and like picked up my dog, and he seemed better today. So, yeah. Let's see. Provo Cougar fan says, Stanford did beat Colgate, bad Arizona State team. Thanks. That doesn't make me feel better. So you're saying Colgate's better than Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Nobody loses to Kansas, Brian says. Oh, wait. Nobody loses
Rock
to
Chalk Jayhawk.
No, Rock Chalk. How do you not even know how to say? Oh, my God. Okay, so we are hiring a new co-host.
Tanner, your day has come.
A new ho? We're hiring a new host. We should just do football at 50. 10 to the hour, every hour. Vibe with me, yo.
It's back.
Let's go.
It's back.
Football 50, 10 to the hour, every hour on the Monty Show, presented by our good friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Papa Murphy's Pizza. Download the app. Do what our guy Teddy Wayman did last night. Oh, Teddy, if you don't follow me on Twitter, by the way, The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show is where you find me on the old tweet machine. Go and look at Teddy Wayman's pizza picture because it's spectacular. Oh, my goodness. Papa Murphy's, the best part is you order it at 9 a.m. They'll have it waiting for you at 5 p.m. And you can do that right on the app. Use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase at $25 or more. All right, let's talk NFL quarterbacks because there's a couple of interesting stories. Number one, Deshaun Watson. Deshaun.
King of all massages.
That's right. Deshaun Watson's back at Cleveland Browns practice. He is taking the first team reps. He will not be eligible for 2 more weeks until they travel to Houston to take on his former team, the Texans. Are you okay that he's back at practice early?
No, not at all.
You're not.
Not in the mood for Deshaun Watson drama. Not in the mood to see Buddy have a bunch of success in the back half of the schedule.
So we have a neighbor, and he's that guy. Like, he's got this antenna for, like, his ham radio thing. And it's a big antenna.
Okay, there was an evolution of this antenna, though. The thing started out as a little stick in the ground. Then we roll up one day, and it's like 20 feet in the air. Then the next day, he's got a fence around
a barrier.
A barrier so that the HOA doesn't come and take it down.
So we come home yesterday to my place. Because I drive every day because, well, I'm a stud.
Well, you're just a terrible passenger, but
you know,
it's fine.
I drive every day.
Right.
And so we come home, we park in the garage, and the antenna's gone. And Jake's like, oh, look, Buddy took down his antenna. The fact that you call everybody Buddy is amazing. I don't think Deshaun Watson should be practicing. I think it puts him back in the national spotlight.
It's not a suspension, dude. You should not be back at the facility until
Week 13.
Week 13. Like, come on, man.
Kyler Murray says he's getting closer to a return, but he is not cleared in concussion protocols. By the way, Matt Stafford's not cleared either, but it looks like he will be. Should the Cardinals start Kyler Murray when he returns? I maintain, we've talked about this all week, you have no choice. And I understand Colt McCoy is everybody's favorite quarterback, just like every other backup quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
Colt McCoy's not a number one. Kyler Murray has the potential to be a number one, but he's a brat and he doesn't prepare. You have a massive financial commitment to him, you're going to start Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I think you have to. Because of the money, because of the situation, because of the fact that you committed to him long term. I think that it's ridiculous that inside of one season, inside of the first 5 weeks of the season, everyone's like, oh, this is a Cliff Kingsbury problem. Now we're heading into week 11 or week 12 or whatever it is now, and now it's very clear that it's not a Kingsbury problem, that it's actually a Kyler problem.
It's funny what happens when the coach sends in the play and the quarterback actually runs the play the coach sent in.
Well.
Kyler Murray has freely admitted he is not running the plays that Cliff Kingsbury sends into the game.
You're not good enough not to run the play the coach sends in because you're not a Super Bowl winner. You're not that guy yet.
You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. Football at 50 presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza. Use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more. Jameis Winston benched fire crotch, Andy Dalton.
Yeah, the Red Rocket.
He gets the start. You like this decision?
Yeah, I think Jameis Winston is forever an average quarterback. He turns the ball over too much. You want to talk about not preparing? Like, he never really seems prepared, which is why I think he turns the ball over so much. You look at his last year in Tampa, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. Like, that should tell you, hey, this guy gets lucky a lot, and that's a problem.
Yeah, famous Jameis. Well, then the question clearly is, who's the best quarterback in the NFL? And I think this is a really difficult question to answer. I would have told you up until whatever that was last week that Josh Allen did, that Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL. But friends, I'm here to tell you the sex machine known as Justin Herbert is not the best quarterback in the NFL either. I still think it's Patty Ice. Pat Mahomes, I think, is the best quarterback currently in the NFL. I think Tommy. I still maintain that Aaron Rodgers, who plays tonight and is going to beat Tennessee. I think that A-Raj, Tommy, that era of quarterback has slipped down a notch, right? I think Patrick Mahomes might be the only quarterback who can carry his entire football team on his back and win games for them.
100% agree, dude. 100%.
I don't even know who else would be in the conversation. Josh Allen, that performance was so incredibly disappointing last week. I don't even know how to explain it. His hero ball mentality, until that goes away, I don't think that the Bills are truly a Super Bowl contender. But I also look at the younger generation of quarterback. I think Justin Herbert is that close to being an elite quarterback. He's not yet. I think Justin Herbert, if he makes a little tweak in his mentality and he gets a little bit better play calling, I think Justin Herbert could be the best quarterback in the NFL like next year.
Yeah. He's got all the talent. Yeah, he's got all the talent. He's got all the mental ability. Just have to keep working on it.
Yeah, I agree. We'll talk Bo Nix in 3 minutes on the Monty Show. Aaron had a great game last week, but you know what, Ruffs? I think Aaron Rodgers is completely overrated. I think he's been overrated. They blamed Fathead McCarthy for the struggles in Green Bay. Well, look, they fired Fat Ass, and now guess what? They're still struggling in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Because Aaron Rodgers believes, as he should, Aaron Rodgers believes he's the best quarterback ever, and he's just not. He's not a guy that you can believe in.
Yeah.
He just isn't. M. Alvarez says Taysom Hill is the best QB in the NFL. Absolutely, the Taysom-ator.
Let's go.
Yep. Taysom Hill is the best quarterback, not playing quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, nice tight end.
Totally agree about that. Kurt Meyer says, what about the man Taysom Hill?
Yeah, like I said, nice tight end.
Eric and Raleigh says Taysom Hill is the answer in no, LOL. Teddy Wayman, the best pizza chef in the world. Good morning. Justin Salas says Colt McCoy is still in the NFL. Guy is old enough to be my dad. Yeah, he's your daddy.
Yeah.
Okay, that feels awkward. Justin also says, Patrick Mahomes is the best QB in the league by a long shot. What he can do with his legs and his arm is crazy. Yeah, I agree. The real MVP is Pat Mahomes' bath bombs. Okay.
Wow.
Baby head Kyler needs a few more film sessions. LOL. Baby head Kyler. Love it. Mike Maples, Rodgers is the best except against the Niners. He's not.
Or Tom Brady.
Or any other quarterback when you're playing in the NFC Championship game. He's just not. And by the way, he's a terrible boyfriend. And his family hates him still. So I don't even know what we're talking about. Here on the Monty Show, Football at 50 is presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza.
Papa Murphy's presents How to Change the Way You Pizza. Step 1, carefully knead dough. Step 2, artfully spread sauce. Step 3, add fresh mozzarella and assemble toppings. Step 4, realize we already did all that for you, so all you have to do is bake it. For a limited time only, get the Hog Heaven Pizza with Canadian bacon, ground sausage, and crispy bacon. Papa Murphy's, change the way you pizza.
Yep, use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more at Papa Murphy's Pizza. It's 7 o'clock on the Monty Show. As always, we are presented by the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. You ought to follow them on Instagram, just the Advocates, because I think they do so much education, which is one of the main reasons I love being partnered with the Advocates, because they educate their community on things like Social Security. Do you understand that when you're eligible for SSI, Social Security, it's not any longer, hey, let me just fill out this form and I'll get Social Security. It's a fight to get the money that you deserve, and that's why you need the advocates, because the advocates have, attorneys on staff that are experts at making sure you get every penny in Social Security that you're due. That's why you can trust them. And we always talk about the advocates. Yes, if you get in an accident, you should call the advocates. Absolutely. If you trip and fall in a grocery store, call the advocates. If somebody hits you because they were texting and driving, call the advocates. Because you and I both know your insurance company is not going to fight for you. They're going to fight against you to give you the least amount of comp that is possible. But you deserve the most amount of money when you get into an accident. That's who the advocates are. They're going to fight for you. So whether it's Social Security, an accident, whether it is workman's comp, you got hurt at work, they do that too. Check them out online at the advocates or at utahadvocates.com. And I love the little feature they have on their website. You can chat with them live, and it doesn't cost you anything because they don't charge you for consultations. They don't charge you, hey, we're going to have to get $1 million retainer. That's not how the advocates work. You don't pay the advocates until they win your case at utahadvocates.com. All right, let's talk Utah Utes football on the program. On the program.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Coach Saban. By the way, Jake, and if you don't know this, Jake used to say program. Well, man, that Utah Ute football program. And then he heard Nick Saban say program. Yeah. And so all of a sudden, Jake will only say program.
Yeah. The Utah Utes program.
Yeah. That's a fine television. That's a fine television program.
Yeah, it's a great program up on the hill.
Anyway, speaking of up on the hill, they've got a huge game. The Utes have a huge game with Oregon this weekend, and it is likely to decide who's going to play for the championship of the Pac-12 conference. Right. The Ducks are still a 3-point favorite. But now we know that there's a real good chance that Bo Nix is not going to play.
They both are two great quarterbacks. Obviously, Bo is down, so it's the next man up. But, you got to come. They going to go in like they've been there before, and we all trust them. We trust both of them.
I'm sorry, you said what now? Did you say Bo Nix is down?
They both are two great quarterbacks. Obviously, Bo is down, so it's the next man up. But, you got to come. They going to go in like they've been there before, and we all trust them. We trust both of them.
Bo Nix is down.
Yeah.
You said Bo Nix is down. Well, it turns out that, the boys in Vegas believe that Bo Nix is down, and that's why the Utah Utes are a 1.5-point favorite at 62.5.
Yeah, dude.
This is a huge moment in time. That's a receiver at Oregon saying, Bo Nix is down, so now other guys got to step up.
They both are two great quarterbacks. Obviously, Bo is down, so
Obviously, Bo is down.
Wild.
Wow. Now, to his credit, Kyle Whittingham has been saying, hey, we're going to prepare for Bo Nix because we're going to assume Bo Nix is going to play.
Yeah.
The Heisman Trophy candidate, the guy that's on every watch list for the best players in college football, Bo Nix, one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the country. As a runner, he is an absolute lethal force. Well, he took a helmet to the thigh knee range last week against Washington, and he was not at all capable after that. I don't care who you bring in. It just doesn't matter to me. It's not going to be Bo Nix. Utah's going to dominate that game. And if Bo Nix plays, it makes you think now that he's going to be limited. Mm-hmm. This is a massive opportunity for Utah. Jake, I think now it becomes unacceptable to lose this game, especially if Bo Nix doesn't play.
Yeah, and I think it's the break you've been looking for if you're Utah. I mean, for so many weeks, it feels like, for this Utah program that they can't get a break. They can't get that lucky break that really gives them the edge over the competition. And this is clearly what that is. This is, hey, a Heisman Trophy candidate is not going to be playing in this football game. And to me, it's everything you could ask for. And there's a little part of me that still says, saying that we expect them to win this game is strong. But I have to say, if Bo Nix isn't going to play, I would expect them to win this game. Like, I would expect the Utah defense to dominate. I would expect a turnover in this game for the Utah defense. I would, I would expect them to come out and really get after it. I could see a scenario where whoever they decide to play instead of Bo Nix is going to turn it over. Like, I can see that. And if you can get a turnover in this game, you really should be able to control this game. So I don't know. My question for Chris Houston, that's who that guy is.
That wide receiver at Oregon.
My question for Chris is, was that a slip of the tongue, or what is the deal?
Oh, I don't think it's a slip of the tongue at all. I think this is a kid that just answered a question honestly about his quarterback.
They both are two great quarterbacks. Obviously, Bo is down, so it's the next man up.
Obviously, Bo is down. It is next man up. I think
we're going to see if he can play.
No, and Coach Lanning, the head coach at Oregon, said, I would expect Bo to play. But we're preparing, there are guys behind him if Bo's not capable of going. And I think the coach is saying and doing all the right things. But you look at his receiver saying, hey, Bo is down. It's next man up. Bo Nix is not likely to play in this game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think Kyle Whittingham's exactly right. I think you have to prepare that Bo Nix is going to play.
Yeah.
But, boy, this is a huge moment in time for the Utes because you feel like without Bo Nix, Utah is going to win this game. You would feel like they're going to beat Colorado because nobody loses to Stanford, right?
Uh-huh.
And nobody's losing to Colorado this year. I mean, isn't the door wide open for the Utes to play for another Pac-12 championship?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this is, think about the program the program over the last couple of years. Think about it. Like, all the adversity that Witt and the boys have had to deal with. It's nice that we get to say, hey, yeah, you're going up to play at Autzen and Bo Nix isn't playing. Like, that is huge, man. Like, this could, and I'm not trying to exaggerate, I'm not trying to blow this out of proportion, but think about it. You go and win this game, and let's say they win it handily, right? Because people are going to say, oh, well, Bo Nix didn't play, so they should have won the game. Like, people are definitely going to say that.
Yes.
But if you control this game and you win 35-21, let's say, let's just say you kick the hell out of Oregon, right? That then should catapult you into the college football playoff scene. Like, that should put you in a great position to actually get in. You know what I mean?
I think it's going to be unbelievable. And now I think this puts a hell of a lot more pressure on USC because I think you look at the USC UCLA game, and this is what I've been telling you about USC UCLA. You look at that game, and you start to understand now that game has real value to it, especially in the Pac-12. And you look at, like, Oregon State has no chance of competing for the Pac-12 championship, right? You look at Utah-Oregon, massive game. You look at the rest of what is going on in the Pac-12. It comes down to USC and UCLA, and I'm looking for the line. USC is now only a 2.5-point favorite. The number is 76. Saturday, 6 p.m. on Fox in Westwood, in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. 8-2 UCLA, 9-1 USC. I mean, this is what we all play for because UCLA now, with those two losses that UCLA has, losing to Arizona, man, is that not the biggest kick of the balls you'll ever see?
Yeah.
When you're UCLA, you lose to Arizona, and then Bo Nix gets hurt against Washington, and you've probably played your way out of a Pac-12 championship.
Final.
I mean, it's unbelievable, man.
Yep.
And now, that's not to say that UCLA is for surely going to lose to USC, because I don't think it's for sure at all. But I look at the injuries that USC is dealing with, and you just start asking yourself, how much depth does USC really have? It's year one of Lincoln Riley. I think the Dye leg injury, he's out for the year. I think it's just tragic if you're a USC fan.
Yep.
Because he was having a huge year. But, I mean, you've missed so much of Jordan Addison. You've missed all of these guys. And you at some point you run out of gas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you run into a UCLA team that's got Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He's just still one of the best quarterbacks in the Pac-12.
Yeah, he's gifted for sure. He's gifted.
I mean, I think that game is massively compelling.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that these are the weeks in college football where you can get excited. You know, where you can feel like, all right, we have really good matchups this week, and I think that, you know, Utah's got to win this game. You know, if UCLA wants to be legit, they'll beat USC. You know, and it's a very simple. You know, as I always say about the NBA, it's a make or miss league. You're either going to win or you're going to lose, and that's going to define your season. And this Bo Nix thing, that him being out, like you look at, like you just said, like because it's Lincoln Riley's first year in the PAC and with USC, like, you know, the depth probably isn't there to where it will be 3-4 years from now. So it'll be really curious. Like this is where your, you know, season gets defined. When people think back on Lincoln Riley's first year, they will remember the Utah loss. They will remember the UCLA loss if they lose to UCLA, right? Like, those are the things you will remember. So, to me, I just think that these type of weekends are what I always talk about when we get into the conversation about me not being a college football guy. Like, these are the bigger games that you really should watch because they're going to be great games.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting what DTR said about USC, by the way. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who's like a 17th year senior at UCLA.
Right. He's been playing his whole life there.
He straight up said yesterday, I hate USC.
Uh-huh.
And it started a conversation. And one of my good friends, who is a USC alum, has said he hates UCLA.
Right.
But you have what, 30, 40 transfers on that USC roster?
Mm-hmm.
Do those guys really hate UCLA? Does Caleb Williams really hate UCLA? I mean, what has he got invested in the USC UCLA game?
I don't think he's got anything invested in either program. I think he's invested in Lincoln Riley.
In either
program.
Thank you.
My bad. Sorry.
I don't think, and again, I could be totally wrong about this. I don't think there is a fire for USC to win this game the way there is for UCLA. And I understand that USC has had struggles and that USC has had to battle and fight for just about every win the last month this season. I mean, you outside of Colorado, who they beat into the ground.
Yeah, handily.
But you look at Cal 41-35, Arizona 45-37, losing obviously 43-42 to the Utes. 30-14 at Washington State, 42-25 to Arizona State. They beat Oregon 17-14. Like, they've had some real battles on their hands the last probably month.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that when I look at UCLA, they're the complete opposite. UCLA, if you look at, now, South Alabama, okay, that was a letdown game, right? But you look at Colorado, 45-17. 42-32, they beat the Utes, right? They somehow lost to Oregon 45-30. Stanford 38-13, 50-36, they beat Arizona State. And then inexplicably in the Rose Bowl, they lose to Arizona.
Yeah.
At home, they lose to Arizona.
It's inexcusable, dude.
I can't fathom it. And now you've got USC staring you right in the face. I don't know which way to lean on this game. I really don't. I don't know which way to go on it.
Yeah, I would take SC.
You would take SC?
Yeah, because I think UCLA is not here for big games. That's what I think. But
well, it is Chip Kelly. I mean, I don't know. My feeling is that USC will find a way to win this game because I think Lincoln Riley wants to win the Pac-12 championship in his first year.
Yes, I would agree with that.
I think, frankly, and I believe that they've talked about this at USC, Lincoln Riley wants to win the Pac-12 championship every single year he's in the conference.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is 2 years.
2 years.
So I think he wants to I think he wants to run the table, and I think Lincoln Riley is a phenomenal motivator.
Yeah. His
teams will never be the best the best defensive teams in the conference.
Yeah, well, I think that's Lincoln Riley, right? Like where it's a Lamborghini of an offense and a terrible defense. Like you're giving up. You were going down some of those scores, and I'm like, dude, like you gave up 40 to that team? How? Like, how's that even possible?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know.
I'm telling you should go with SC. Like like everyone's gonna say, oh, it's DTR and it's Charbonnet and it's Chip Kelly and an amazing offense. But I'm telling you, SC, if this is gonna be a shootout, go with SC. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know, man. If Jordan Addison's even a shell of himself, he's better than any defensive back at UCLA.
Yeah.
So I still maintain that Travis Dye's a huge loss for USC. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a huge loss.
Well, and it's funny how that works with running backs too, because like I feel like you can be like this solid running back, but if the team loses you, they are able to replace you really fast. But with him, he is such a dynamic talent that you can't just replace that. Like you can't replace his ability to catch it in the flat and then run after the catch, right? Like you can't replace the ability in the hole to make that cut that then gives him 10 yards. Like you can't, there are some things, intangibles with backs that you can't replace, just the same way that there are things you can't replace about Caleb Williams and his ability as a quarterback. So that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, we're sitting here talking about if UCLA is going to beat SC, knowing full well that neither of these teams are great defenses and both of them are really dynamic offenses, which to me just clearly says take SC. SC is one of the best offenses in the country. Like, I would take SC.
I think you take SC, and we'll see. I don't know. I think it's going to be fascinating. I think that I don't know why, oddly, because I hate USC.
Right.
And I think we've talked about this on the show. Like, as a Notre Dame fan, it is in my DNA chain to hate USC.
Yeah, the bane of your existence.
I am oddly rooting for Lincoln Riley.
Why?
I don't know. Because you know what? I think it's because so many people are like, "Oh, Oklahoma's better without him. What a dick!" Like, people were like piling on him for leaving to Oklahoma for USC. And now USC is going to the Big Ten, and he is in a far better position with USC in the Big Ten than he would have ever been in Norman with Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But the whole thing, and I don't know how many people equate this, but Oklahoma's not good. Lincoln Riley, breaking news, was actually really important to the success of Oklahoma. And it seems weird to me that people don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley was incredibly important to the success that was had at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And when you look at, really, he was Bob Stoops' replacement. When you step into the shoes of Bob Stoops and you get better, there aren't many people who can do that. Obviously, Ryan Day at Ohio State's one that comes to mind. But you look at Edo and Kelly down at LSU. I mean, there's no doubt that Brian Kelly now has been successful at LSU.
Kalani?
But, well, I don't think Kalani's seen success at BYU yet. I don't. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who still wonder how hot his seat is. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any chance they're firing Kalani Sitake. It's not happening, nor should they.
Right.
My point is, Lincoln Riley rolled into USC with a program that has been down. In a program that's been down for a decade, and boom, just like that, 40 transfers, Heisman Trophy quarterback, and they're probably the odds-on favorite in this conference, probably to go to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, and that's the power of a head coach in college football. And I don't know.
No, you know what it is. And this is my one criticism that I have always had about Kyle Whittingham. It's the power of a head coach that invests heavily in a star quarterback. Because whether you want to admit it or not, college football, much like the NFL, is a quarterback-driven league.
Yeah.
And Kyle Whittingham has, in my opinion, never really invested in the quarterback position. And you're seeing it now because of how unbelievably impactful Cam Rising has been in the last year and a half. You're seeing that now.
Mm-hmm.
But for how long have Ute fans been thirsty, wandering the desert looking for a quarterback?
Travis Wilson didn't get it done for you?
It's been, but dude, you joke, it's been too long. And I understand. Listen, Tyler Huntley was a good quarterback. I totally get it. But you look at what Lincoln Riley's done at USC.
Yeah.
Bringing in Caleb Williams, bringing in Travis Dye, like leveraging the transfer portal, leveraging NIL.
Y'all feel me?
It's the blueprint for succeeding in modern era college football.
Yeah.
And if you compare what guys like Kyle Whittingham and Chaboy, Nick Saban,
program.
Have those guys heavily invested in the transfer portal? No, they haven't. Have those guys heavily invested in NIL? No, they haven't. Has USC? Yes. Yes. Has USC brought in 40 transfers? Yes.
Catch me outside. How about that?
Have they invested in all of the skill positions offensively? Yes. Has it paid off? Yes. I mean, it's unbelievable. And by the way, they still lost to Utah.
How many times is Nick Saban going to have a Jerry Jeudy?
Coach Saban.
How many times is Nick Saban going to have a Will Anderson coming off the edge? Come on, dude. Like, they get it.
I think the difference is that you at Alabama. Alabama.
Gonzaga.
At Alabama, you don't necessarily need the transfer portal because you recruit at a very high level.
Right.
But you still need the transfer portal.
Yep.
In today's world, you still need to. Where's Jaden DeLora?
Yeah.
Where is, you look at Bo Nix. You look around the conference, the transfer portal has had a massive, game-changing impact on wins and losses in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
There's just no other way to look at that.
I think you look at a guy in Bo Nix leaving the SEC to go to the Pac-12. Like, I mean, that's a huge deal.
Yeah, and Mo Diabate's one that comes to mind. And I mean, you have used, and I want to make sure that Ute fans are like, oh, look at this fat little jerk. What a chunky mother effer.
Wow, Dad. Wow.
All I'm saying is that Kyle Whittingham, and I think he's openly talked about it.
Yeah.
Kyle Whittingham has either not embraced it or doesn't have the infrastructure to be a prolific NIL institution or program, and I don't understand why not. Because you're looking at Cam Rising, isn't he an America First guy?
I believe
he's doing those commercials for America First.
I want to say he's got Toyota too, if I'm not mistaken. I think he did a deal with Toyota.
But didn't we just get a new spot for the Utah Grizzlies for America First Credit Union?
Yeah.
And I want to say that Cam Rising's the star of that commercial. Like, Cam is actually doing it now. And again, as much as Witt has not leveraged the transfer portal,
right?
I mean, he's been dominant in the junior college level, right? And we can go back to guys like Kalen Clay or, I mean, defensively all over the place. Like, I get it. You look at quitter quarterback, noodle arm quarterback last year from Baylor. So, listen, there are instances of it. Lincoln Riley rewrote the playbook on the transfer portal and NIL when he got to USC.
Yeah, the difference with Lincoln Riley and Kyle Whittingham is that Lincoln Riley is able to take these guys and turn them into 5 stars pretty quick.
That's all I'm saying. Like,
he's not taking safeties and making them quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Witt's doing a bad job. I'm none of that.
But there's a clear difference.
Yeah, all I'm simply saying is, I think there is some work to, maybe that's how you say it. There's some work to be done.
But listen, I agree with that 100%. But the thing is, this is a philosophical thing. Like, I hope we all understand this. Like, do not expect Kyle Whittingham next season or even really before he leaves the position to be some prolific NIL recruiter coach, right? Like, that's not who Witt is. Witt is someone who wants to recruit organically, build the relationship, and tell a story about developing you and turning you into an NFL guy. Like, that's the story he's going to tell. And
he wants to take Chase Hansen and make him a linebacker.
Yes, exactly. Like, that's what he wants to do. And to me, times are changing. I get it. People don't like people want to sit up on a dais and talk about how, that Jimbo paid for his entire roster and
Jimbo.
How, I get it. Like, people are uncomfortable paying college football players to come into their programs. But what I'm telling you is that this is just like anything else. I'm not going to write a check to Buddy to come play for me. I'm going to write a check to the Toyota dealership who's going to pay Buddy, who's then going to come and play for me. And if you don't understand that, you're not going to be successful in college football.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I really don't. I just think that everybody here should hit the like button. I do. I think that if
and
all
no, you're not going to get an NIL deal to hit the like button, so don't talk to me about it.
Jerky.
Yeah.
If you would all hit the like button, we would be able to take somebody to the Utah Jazz game, who we're going to talk about in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
We would be able to take somebody to the Jazz game if we get to 9,000 likes, 9,000 subs.
Yeah, subs.
By the end of the year.
And by the way, you guys have been doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, by the end of the year, all we're asking for is 9,000 subs, and we will take you +1 to watch the Utah Jazz take on Donnie. Hey, Donnie.
The Donster.
Donnie and the Cleveland Cavaliers on January 10th. We will take you there in a black car, and we will buy you your own Utah Jazz jersey, whether it's custom or if you would like to get one from the team store, let's do it.
Please.
But we are happy. We are absolutely happy to do that. All you have to do is hit subscribe, be subscribed to this channel, and we'll hook it up. We have picked up 11 subs already today. We appreciate that. So please do hit the like button right now, all 111 of you who are here. We'll talk Utah Jazz in the NBA. Coming up in 4 minutes, Provo Cougar fan says UCLA, fight, go Bruins!
Nobody says that.
Okay. Geoff Johnson, good to see you, Jeff. He says, wow, Notre Dame fans hate pretty much everyone. Everyone.
Yeah.
I hate... Tim Bruchmiller says, AZ to the Big 12. Arizona State.
Excuse
Utah,
me, it's Arizona?
Oh, excuse me. Arizona State, Forks down.
Nice program.
Nice program.
Glad to see Herm's back on ESPN already.
Yeah, how about that? Herm Edwards fired. Scandal. Yeah, Aspen will hire him.
Who the fuck is that guy?
But then, of course, Utah and Colorado. Don't take Colorado. Nobody wants Colorado. Nobody wants Colorado. Nobody wants Colorado. You want legal weed? Ingest it through Colorado. If you want to win football games, don't take Colorado. I'm begging you to take San Diego State. M. Morris says, who has USC beat that is good? Honest question.
There we go.
I look at their schedule and I ask the same question.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a win over a ranked team. Even though I think obviously the Utah game was unbelievable, but you lost 43-42.
But this is the essence of college football though. Like,
it is.
USC is one of those programs, much like Ohio State, that just gets the benefit of the doubt because they're USC. And there's no way to explain it. There's no way to be like, oh, yeah, like, here's why Ohio State, who plays absolutely nobody and is absolutely, not justified, gets in every single year.
If USC runs the table and their one loss is to a 20th ranked Utah team, but they've got 2 quality wins over a ranked UCLA team and a ranked Notre Dame team, whether you like it or not, Notre Dame still carries water in this town. If you've got 2 wins over a ranked opponent, explain to me how that's any different than a Big Ten Ohio State. Help me understand that.
And
because
that's my point. It's the same thing, and that's what I'm saying.
Look at the number 2 and the number 3 schools in the college football playoff. That's Michigan and Ohio State.
Seriously, paint this picture.
Ohio State has exactly 1 win over a ranked team, and that would be Penn State, who was 13.
That's right, T.
They're going to play Maryland this week, and they are going to take them apart at the joints. Okay? You're going to play number 3 Michigan. So in the best case scenario, Ohio State has 3 wins over a ranked opponent. 3. If you count Notre Dame, and again, Notre Dame still carries water in this town. They were 5th in the country.
Definitely.
When Ohio State beat them.
Definitely.
So that would be 3 wins over ranked opponents if Ohio State wins the Michigan game.
Is that at the Shoe or at the Big House?
That is at the shoe.
Yeah.
That's in Columbus.
So, like, I feel
so
like...
you would expect Ohio State to
them
win.
to win that game. I feel like you would get more credit if you were going to the big house and you won that game.
And then there's Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan.
Yeah.
Who has one win over a ranked opponent, just like Ohio State.
Yep.
And that win in conference is Penn State.
But somehow, even though it's the same thing on the schedule, the Ohio State gets way more credit.
You got to pause longer than that. But my point is, Ohio State will have 3 wins over a ranked opponent. Michigan, let's say Michigan somehow beats Ohio State. Michigan will have 2 wins over a ranked opponent. And they're the second and third teams in the country. So let's not sit here and pretend you got to have 5 wins over a ranked opponent. Rectally speaking, that's how you get in.
It's internal.
Because let's just be honest, wins over a ranked opponent have almost nothing to do with who gets in.
It's really despicable.
Because if we're being really honest, and if you really want to raise the dickometer...
I'm sorry, the dickometer. What is that?
It's ridiculous.
If you really want to get into what's justified and what's not, I'm going to go and look at the Georgia Bulldogs. And at their best, if they run the table, they'll have 3 wins over a ranked opponent. Is that really that impressive?
It is,
yeah.
If I say it is.
Okay, now, if Oregon loses,
right?
If Oregon loses to Utah,
right?
Is Oregon really that impressive of a win? Because again, not to go backward, you took Oregon apart at the joints, bro. You ripped them limb from limb.
Yeah.
You separated their upper arm and their lower arm from their cavity.
This is what people say. Oh, well, that was week 1, and that was, the beginning of the season. And...
But who else has Georgia played? And let's be honest, forget the ranked opponent thing. Who else has Georgia played? Oregon, Samford, South Carolina, Kent State, Missouri, Auburn, Vandy, Florida, #1 Tennessee. That's a huge win.
Was a good win.
You cannot take the shine off of that.
Yeah.
Mississippi State, they'll play at Kentucky versus Georgia Tech versus LSU in Athens. #6 LSU currently.
That'd be a good win.
That'd be a good win. But is that resume really that much better than Ohio State's?
And that's what I'm saying.
Come on.
So when everyone's like, oh, why are you a red ass about college football? Why do you not like college football? I don't like how we measure teams in college football. I don't. We should be able to say, hey, it should be Georgia, it should be Tennessee, and then those last 2 teams remain to be seen.
But isn't this why Alabama's out? Because they've got 2 losses. They've split. They're 2-2 against their ranked opponents.
Yeah, Alabama doesn't feel like they're a good team by college football playoff standards.
But if I look at Tennessee, Tennessee's biggest game was Georgia. They lost it. But they've also beat a ranked Kentucky team, a ranked Alabama team, a ranked LSU team, a ranked Florida team, and a ranked Pitt team. And yet Tennessee's on the outside looking in, and Ohio State and Michigan are in.
Somehow.
How is that possible? That's
what I'm saying.
That's my rub with the college football playoff.
Dude,
right there.
Tennessee is going to be one of the 4 teams. They have to be.
And I'm telling you, again, I could sit here and talk college football all day. I love it. I love it. By the way, no, I'm not getting into the college football playoff expansion. It should be 169 teams. It should be. It should be 16 teams.
I want Alabama versus a JUCO team.
I want Alabama versus Utah Tech. I want Alabama versus the University of Amazon Warehouse Union.
Yeah.
I want the best teams in the country.
Gonzaga.
It's not a football program. Okay, a couple of more. Dang Trojan says, good morning, preseason Pac-12 favorites. Okay. San Diego State says, folks, the Bayou call Lou Saban Lil Nicky. Facts.
Lil Nicky.
Okay. Lil Nicky.
What?
Dang Trojan says Utah were the preseason favorites but had 2 losses before November. USC game with the Utah's Super Bowl. Well, no, it wasn't Utah's Super Bowl.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Look, arrogant a-hole USC fan. That's not Utah's Super Bowl. Oregon's a far bigger game than the USC game was.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, fight on.
Fight on my ass. Go to the Rose Bowl, then talk your junk.
Yeah, go Irish. San Diego State says, folks in the Bayou call Lou Saban Lil Nicky. Facts. Boyd Lake says it's the one thing that holds K-Witt back. His struggle with managing offense, especially offensive coordinators and QBs. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
M. Morris says Oregon is the top of the pack, and they couldn't hang with Georgia. Totally
hang
agree.
with Georgia. They didn't get off the bus.
Yep. Eric and Rowley says you pay Papa Murphy's to pay a player in an NIL. Well, no, Papa Murphy's pays us to pay a player. It's
a different business proposition. See, this is different. This is why is NIL so complicated?
I don't know.
Getting a guy to do an interview is different than getting Buddy to come and play in your program. Excuse me, your program.
Buddy.
Like, that's two different stages of NIL.
Yeah. Buddy. I'm sorry. He said.
I'm telling you, it's one of the institute Buddy into your nomenclature, and you will be forever more cold-blooded.
It's true. It's true, man. Institute Buddy into name calling. You know.
What did Boyd Lake say about me right there?
Boyd Lake says Jake laughs, but we all know there are days the Alabama lose to the JUCO Giant Killers, and that's what college football playoff is very afraid of.
It is if I say it is.
I would agree with that. Cody Strickland says those are courtside seats, right? Not if you win.
Wow.
San Diego State says we know the Monty Show gets the NIL deal when we hit the like button.
That's right.
That's right. Support the program.
Support the program.
Support the program. That's what I'm asking for.
Yeah, come on.
I don't know why Giggity had a comment that didn't show up. He said programs explain why Jake is still a virgin.
Well,
when you say program,
that's an issue.
You know. Mike Maples says, of course, Jake doesn't know about raising the dickometer.
Yeah, like, dude.
I mean, Mike Maples. He also says, "Love you, Jake."
Like,
it is why you are a virgin.
Yeah. Can someone please explain to me? Maybe we should book a conference room like UCLA does, and we can talk about the dickometer. Maybe I need an educational course on it. You know what I mean,
bro? That's called health class.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, time for Uncle Monty's therapy sessions, otherwise known as dickometer teachings. San Diego State says, happy Founders Day to the bros of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, Inc. No hazing going on there. Charles Barkey says, cry on is more like it. They're still crying over refs. Well, you should be crying over Clay Helton being a terribly nice human being.
Yeah.
Eric and Raleigh says, I'm not your buddy, pal. Exactly. Greg Hale says, I believe the top 25 is vital to help teams build resumes for the top 10. That's its purpose. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just don't have to. I just don't have to like it. I don't have to like it. All the Utah Jazz and NBA talk on this program is presented by Tri-Day Trading, tridaytrading.com/Monty. It's interesting. Again, another DM conversation about, does Tri-Day Trading really offer? Have I ever steered you guys wrong?
Nope.
Have I ever said, hey, come see us at Super Chicks on Saturday on Riverdale Road in Ogden, and we'll give you free food. You can mark it down. Your food's going to be free if you're one of the first 100 people there Saturday. Good. So when I say, hey, go here, go there, shop with these guys, I think we've done you pretty well, right?
Yep.
So in an economy where so many people are struggling, in an economy where so many people are trying to figure out how to pay the rent, pay their bills, pay for Thanksgiving, get their kid the Kung Fu Grip G.I. Joe, there's one solution that everybody knows works. Try day trading. You should try day trading. Do it at tridaytrading.com/Monty. And again, the only bar that I use is how much money are we putting in your pocket? If I said to you, from now, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, in the next 5 days, if we could make you $5,000, would you be interested? Well, of course you would. The question is, are you going to make $5,000 between now and next Wednesday when everybody goes on holiday for Thanksgiving? No, you're not. And you know why? Because you haven't gone to tridaytrading.com/Monty. They quite literally have people every day that went through the Tri-Day Trading program that make hundreds and thousands of dollars a day. And don't take my word for it. Go to their website, watch the free webinar, because that's all I'm asking you to do, right? We don't ever ask you to spend gobs of money. And don't take my word for it. Go to tridaytrading.com/Monty. watch the free webinar. It's free. It's no obligation. And then make a decision. But you're going to wind up in the same place that everybody else is. As soon as you hear them say, yeah, you can make hundreds and thousands of dollars a day, and we're going to teach you how to day trade at a very high level. And when you're ready to start trading, you're going to trade our money, not yours. And if you make money with our money, we're going to give you 50% of the profit. That's how the program at Tri-Day Trading works. They're so confident that their systems, algorithms, coaching, mentoring, because you don't just show up, leave, and they never talk to you again. You get mentoring and coaching at Tri-Day Trading. They're so confident their systems work that they're going to let you trade their own money to get yourself started. So you have no risk. It's a free webinar that leads you to trading somebody else's money. And all you got to do is go to tridaytrading.com/Monty. And before I start talking NBA and Jazz, just remember, every time you start a new side hustle, you're wasting your time unless it's Tri-Day Trading. We've done Amazon FBA. We've bought crates of returns. We have sold cookies. We have done it all. Go in on your own, tridaytrading.com/Monty. Let's talk Utah Jazz basketball. What do you think the expected win total of the Utah Jazz is? You've lost 3 in a row. You have the Phoenix Suns coming in Friday night at 7. Devin Booker and the Suns looked unbelievably hot last night.
I'm for real.
Sex machine.
Right.
Devin Booker's a guy that you're not going to be able to stop, but you can still win that game. So my question is, what is the expectation and what is your confidence level that this is a playoff team still today?
Yeah, I'm confident in this team. I think that, it may take 5 games to figure out what should be figured out in one game, frankly, but that's because they're young. Will Hardy's young, the players are young, and a lot of people say, oh, well, not the whole roster's young. Right, but the guys that you're running out there regularly who are getting the lion's share of the minutes are relatively young. Outside of Mike, you've got a pretty young core here. And so to me, I look at this team and I say, hey, yeah, I do still think they're a playoff team. I'm not going to get too high or too low on this team. And I think that it's between 40 and 45 wins where they come down. And if that's the case, you're 1,000% a playoff team. And depending on win totals and how all this goes down exactly, you may even scratch into the 6th seed. Maybe if you're lucky, depending on how it all goes down. So to me, I still think they're right in the heart of the playoff picture. And to me, I don't know why people are panicking. Why are you panicking? Right? They're a 10-win team. They've lost 3 in a row, so they're 10-6 now. There's no reason to be panicking. Panic when they're sub 500. If this team loses 5 more games in a row, okay, then we can panic. Then we can start saying, okay, we're not making adjustments. We're not doing what needs to be done. We're not making that pass to the corner. We're not handling business. Then we're going to have a different conversation. But to me, you've got a lot of time here. I would just stay calm, stay in your lane, just trust that they will get it figured out. And that to me is what needs to happen. And I just, as a Jazz fan, I would tell you, just don't freak out. Let the process play out. They will make the playoffs if Will Hardy is the coach we all think he is. So that's kind of where I think they come down.
I think they're a playoff team. I don't have any doubt about that. I think my confidence lies strictly in that you are on a regular basis going to be deeper, not more talented. You're going to be deeper than your opponent. You are going to be able to run out Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton, Mike Conley in a guard rotation. You're going to be able to run out up in your front court guys like Olynyk, Markkanen. Certainly Walker Kessler's a guy that I cannot wait to see grow. I think you're just going to be more talented than your competition. Mm-hmm. And I don't see how DeAndre Ayton can be asked to compete with guys like Walker Kessler and Kelly Olynyk, because I think Kelly Olynyk's physicality and his ability to get under your skin, I think that's his best tool. He can shoot the 3. He can finish at the rim. He's a 20-minute-a-night guy on my basketball team. But I think the other thing with DeAndre Ayton and the Suns, and the reason I expect the Jazz to win that game is if you throw a shoulder into DeAndre Ayton, he's not going to catch the ball.
Right.
So I think they can be had, and that's why I would expect them to beat the Suns.
Yeah, and I think that beating the Suns, is it's kind of crazy that we're sitting here saying we expect them to beat the Suns because of the physicality card. But it's the truth. I mean, the Suns are and have, it's not a secret that the Suns are soft as far as physicality and like, you know, playing through that stuff. Like, I think Book has done a much better job over the last 2 seasons of becoming a tougher player and becoming a guy that wants to play through contact and understands contact. But I think as far as their team is concerned, they are a soft team. And I think that's why this rumor about, you know, the Suns putting together a 3-team deal around Jay Crowder it's really sad to me because the Suns need a Jay Crowder on their team. And I think a lot of NBA teams need that Jay Crowder guy. But the thing for the Jazz is that I feel like they have guys that want to be physical. Like Colin Sexton has no problem getting after it with you. You know, like they're like, obviously Kelly Olynyk, like I think Vando likes to be physical. He's got no problem doing that. Even Kessler has no problem being physical. So like this team has no issue being physical. And I think that is where everything starts in the NBA. If you're willing to bang with guys, you're going to be a better team. And then you combine that with the pace they're able to play with. And when they're playing, like on their good nights, when they make good decisions and they move the ball, they're going to get a lot of wide open looks. So to me, you're already, you know, overachieving. You're already outpacing the expectations that 9 out of 10 Jazz fans had, which has led to your building being full when you're home. So that's why I say there's no reason to panic. Like, keep watching this team. Enjoy the process of this team getting better, and you will see they will make the playoffs. They will be a 45-win team. And then next year, when they're if they, you know, trade all their guys away and make some mistakes in the offseason, then we can talk about panicking. But I just wouldn't do that this year.
Yep, I agree. Greg Hawkins says, "Sup, y'all? See, of course, you show up right when we're done talking Pac-12."
Yeah, we literally just talked Utah for like an hour.
Pied Piper says, "I've been doing the Tri-Day trading program for over a month now. It's much more complicated and harder than Monty makes it seem, but still enjoying it a lot and building a new career. I don't think that anything is a given or is easy." And Pied Piper, I'd really appreciate, hey, explain that to us. Because I think when you go through a program like Tri-Day Trading, if you're going to succeed and it's going to be prolific, I don't necessarily believe it can be easy.
Yeah.
I think when you're learning a new career and you're learning how to day trade and you're learning how to leverage, you know, new systems and languages that are completely foreign to you, I think that's what makes it difficult. I mean, and let's see, Nirtlocj, Nirtlocj, good luck. Says, what's the catch? There is no catch.
Yeah, there's not a catch to it. I think that the honest truth is like what we've been saying. Like right now, all we're saying is go to TridayTrading.com/Monty, because when you do that, the reason we always say that is because when you do that, you're going to watch the webinar and you'll just simply make a decision. Like, hey, do I feel like this is something I want to pursue, or do I not want to pursue it? Right.
And
that's our job.
Look at Cody Strickland's question. Right. Those. Yep. It is a full-time job, or is it a side gig I could do? Either or.
Well, I think that, you know, there's no question that it's going to take time to learn the language and understand the process. And, it takes time to learn how to drive a car. It takes time to learn how to pay your taxes.
It takes think about the things that you want to do on a side hustle. Like Amazon FBA, we've done it full-time prolifically. It takes time to learn, and nobody's teaching you.
Yeah.
So you're going to make mistakes, right? It is, Cody, and I see your question, it is what you want it to be. If you want it to be a side hustle, yes, after you're done with their program, it can be a side hustle, absolutely. I've talked to people who do it as a side hustle, and I told you this, the first time I ever heard about Tri-Day Trading was somebody at Yelp there's like a stock market day trader Slack channel at Yelp that I used to be part of. That's the first time I ever heard about it. And those guys that are in that group, we were all full-time sellers at Yelp. And full-time selling at Yelp is a 40 to 50-hour gig. It's a full-time job. All those guys did it part-time.
Yeah.
All those guys did it. And I can tell you,
good bread doing it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The 3 guys that I worked with at Yelp that were at Tri-Day, went through the Tri-Day program, were pretty, they competed with me at Yelp. I mean, like for a long period of time, I was the #1 seller in the country at Yelp. By far, I made smoking bread at Yelp, did really well. These guys were 4th and 5th. The other guy was 10th. And they're day traders on the side. You can do what you want to do.
But you have to understand, you have to learn it though, right? Like, it's not like you can't just say, oh, well, I'm just going to kind of like half step in and try to do this on the side. Yep. Like, the one thing you can't do in life, and I'm a big believer in this, is you can't be like, oh, well, I can do this on the side, but I'm not going to put the time in to go through the training and put those hours in to learn what I need to learn to be successful at it. Like, that's the thing. Like, Pied Piper's comment about, hey, it's like not as easy as you guys make it out to be. Well, nothing in life is easy, but if you put the time in and learn the language and learn the tactics and techniques and everything that they're trying to teach you, then a month from now, it's going to get pretty damn easy for you. You're going to look at a screen, you're going to read what you need to read, and you're going to make a decision. Like, that's what day trading really is.
And I also say all the flipping time. We just had this conversation yesterday. Handle hard better. It is the Kara Lawson Duke basketball speech she gave. Handle hard better. If you're truly sick of your life and your boss and your job, and do something about it. The thing that frustrates me is people are like, oh, my boss is a jerk. I'm tired of this. I'm on the commute. Okay, are you willing to do something about it? No. Okay, well, you can complain or you can make money. You can complain or you can improve your life. You can bitch and moan that your neighbor went to Disneyland and you can't afford to pay your rent, or you can do something about it.
Yeah.
It's nothing in this. If you are going to change careers, how easy do you think that's going to be? It's not going to be easy, nor should it be. I mean, it is.
I don't know why we judge in this world, like the success of something based on how easy it is.
We make decisions every day that impact our lives based on how hard or how easy something is. Am I going to do the dishes? Well, you know what? I burn the pan. I'm going to let them sit there. Right? Like, those are the decisions. Am I going to make my bed today? Nah, I'm just too lazy. But you're gonna struggle financially so that you can have a $700 car payment. You're gonna buy a Porsche in an apartment. You're gonna buy a Porsche in an apartment. I've never understood that. You're gonna buy that big ass diesel pickup truck and park it in a parking lot at your apartment.
Yeah.
I've never understood $1,000 car payments to go along with that apartment rent that you have. Make better decisions. Stop being the guy that doesn't want to handle the hard issues in your life. That's what pisses me off. That's why day trading, if you want something easy, go work at McDonald's, bro. If you want something easy, go work in a factory making condoms. I don't know what to tell you, because that's not easy either.
Yeah.
Because you know what's going to happen? You're the guy. I guarantee it. And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but tell me I'm wrong. You're the guy who's like, this job sucks. Okay, I'm going to go over here. You're going to be there a month and you're like, this job sucks. I'm going to go over here. You're going to be there a month and you're going to be like, this job sucks. This guy's a dick. My boss sucks.
Yeah.
It's too hard. It's too busy. I don't like the drive. I don't like this. I don't like that. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're not going to stop complaining, you're not going to start growing.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
Yeah.
There endeth the lesson.
By the way, but on these kind of decisions and these kind of conversations, what is, let's say you're 30 years old. What is 35-year-old going to think of you when you get there based on these decisions?
And you're going to get there. You're going to be the guy there's one of two ways that men work in this country. You either are going to bitch and moan and you're going to go work that job and you're going to hate every day of it. Or you're going to say, I'm tired of struggling. I'm tired of struggling. So I'm going to make this big change. We did it. And I'm not just saying this to say, oh, look at me. I'm not sitting here preaching at you, telling you that you've got to put your foot in the sand and pivot. Because we did it. I didn't want to work for Yelp anymore. I used to make Yelp millions of dollars a year.
Literally.
Millions of dollars a year in sales.
Quite literally.
I was tired of making somebody else millions. It's my turn now.
Yeah.
It is my turn to do what I'm passionate about and make money for myself. I am the one every day who decides whether we succeed or fail. That's me. I'm tired of working for somebody else. A paycheck's the drug they give you to make you forget your dreams.
Yeah, man. So when we had to make those calls, when we were talking about leaving our 9 to 5, when you have to make that call and actually speak like, hey, I'm moving on, that's terrifying, bro.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's terrifying.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just passionate about it. That's all I'm saying. Like, I just really get into it. I'm a big believer in building the best life possible. I'm super passionate about it. Like, I love it.
Look at Snuka.
What did Snuka say? I'm going to sign up for day trading. Well, I hope you do. And tell us what you think. That's why I love Pied Piper. Where's Pied Piper? Pied Piper, who's doing tri-day trading, said, I think it's worth it because I'm working hard on a strategy that, if executed properly, will get me 6 figures in a few years.
Yeah, you see what I mean, though? Like, that's the type of thought I'm talking about. Like at least with, even if you don't take our word for it, right? Like, you've got our word, you've got Lemma Harrington's word, like you've got people here who know the program works. But even if you don't believe in that, which I totally respect that, right? Believe in the concept of, hey, if I make a good decision today, right? If I really put my all into something, that should benefit me a couple years from now.
Correct.
And that's exactly what Pied Piper's saying right there.
Yeah, it's not easy. I never promised you easy. I promised you
effective.
Yes, I promised you
results.
Good. I promised you good, not easy.
Yeah.
Let's see, a couple more because we're way late for football at 50. Brian Hornbeck said, I made a change. I retired. My guy.
But again,
my guy.
I love that. But there are a bunch of 30-somethings out there right now in the world who are not going to be in a position to retire.
Yep.
Right? That's why you have to have these conversations.
Yep. Brett Burnett says, you can also have money and lose money. Be smart about it if you're going to invest. Scams galore. Nicola, for example. Well, I mean, honestly, greed is really good and really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good and really bad. But hey, it is what it is. Well, I appreciate you guys humoring me. I do. I'm super passionate about life. Like, I just don't believe in sitting around and hoping. I've never believed in hoping. And Salty Drunk, I think, asked, or somebody asked, why we don't do tri-day trading. Because I'm doing what I'm passionate about right here, right now.
Yeah.
I make really good money. We make it for ourselves, and we are building an empire. And so in my world, I wake up every day ready to rock and roll. I do not dread getting up at 4 o'clock ever. I do not dread 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 o'clock at night. I don't dread it. I mean, frankly, my wife is a titan. Mrs. Monty I married way over my head. We're having serious conversations about whether she should quit her job in corporate America and come and work with us. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and I am thankful every day. This is what I say every day. I'm so thankful for you guys being here because there's just no way to...
In all of this, because we were like, yeah, we have this show, and we have some listeners, right? Who are pretty loyal. We had some at that time. Right? If you wind the clocks back, probably, a year is probably when these conversations really started happening. But if you really wind the clocks back to that time, like we had a conversation like, hey man, like how much longer can we work for someone else? How much longer can we?
How much time in our lives are we willing to waste?
Like you're giving away, if you do the math, right? You're giving somebody else 50 hours a week. Right? Over the course of a working year for an American, that's a lot of time.
And we have spent time. Do you guys remember this show? Like, I don't know if Jeremy Bolton's here today. He is right there.
He is, yeah, he's here.
He says, I feel one of the lucky ones in working and doing what I love. Jeremy Bolton was one of the guys who listened to this show when we had like 20, 30 listeners total.
Yeah.
Like we generally do 3,000-4,000 listeners during a live show, and we'll do like on a daily basis, we do about 20,000 views a day on YouTube. There was a time when we launched this YouTube channel, we were doing 30 views a day. Like we would have 30 people watch the show in its entirety. Think about that. And that's a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Or 2 years ago almost. This show never exploded. We built this thing slowly. 30 listeners a day.
Yeah, dude.
And then we wind up with people like Papa Murphy's Pizza.
We all remember the Twitch experiment.
Yeah, which was Eric and Raleigh. I don't know if Eric's still here, but
he is.
Eric and Raleigh was like, dude, you cannot do Twitch. Like, Twitch sucks. And we tried it.
Yeah.
We tried it. And we took a huge risk. We had gotten up to about 1,000. We were doing the Twitter live stream app.
Periscope.
We were doing Periscope, and we would get about 1,000 listeners a show on Periscope. And then they decided, hey, we're going to shut down Periscope. And we were like, okay. And then like Twitch started banging on our door.
Right.
Like I knew a guy who left a radio industry to go build Twitch Sports. And he immediately started hitting us. And then when the Periscope thing happened, he straight up came to us and said, hey, Periscope's going away. Come to Twitch. And it was a disaster for us. It was absolutely a disaster for us. So we pivoted right away, tried Zoom for a little while, disastrous. You broke up with her over text, and you moved to Utah finally.
Yes.
And we started doing YouTube every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been a crazy grind. You know, it is, yeah. Jeremy Bolton says, what happened to shooting monsters into the garbage cans?
Oh,
you
trying to relive some garbage can basketball?
Oh my God.
Bro?
Is
that what I'm hearing right now?
I mean, that's crazy, dude.
Dude, I remember when we worked at Yelp and we were going to the office in Scottsdale and we would play garbage can basketball every day.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. NY Monty fan says Jeremy Bolton is the man, the myth, the legend. Jeremy Bolton.
Seriously.
If we go through like the guys who have really stuck by us, like Lopes Fan Gabe is probably the number one. Lopes Fan Gabe listened to us at the shitty radio station in Scottsdale. I mean, like, which was crazy.
Yeah.
And he stayed with us through different incarnations of our show. I think Eric and Raleigh and I found each other first at KMBR in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So he's been with us that long. Like, we have guys like those guys, the Jeremy Boltons of the world, like, that have stayed with the show, and we love you guys for that. That's why we try to do, like, this holiday gift-giving stuff. We try to do, like, spring training trips, taking you guys to Jazz games, giving away All-Star game tickets, and
that's why the partner thing, that's why we take the partner thing so seriously, because we're not just interested in like making money for the sake of it. We want the folks who advertise on this show, you know the names. We want them to be impactful for you guys. Like that's why we haven't just added like 15 sponsors to the show, right? Like you notice we have the group of advertisers we have, and we're looking to add some other ones. We're working on it, but we're very intentional about that. And that's why it matters.
Yeah. Lopes Fan Gabe says 2,000 to 3,000 during a live show, and we can't get more than 47 likes. First of all, I'm terrible at mechanics. I should be saying to you, hey, please give us a like, hit the like button. You know, hey, there's 110 people in this room. Hey, if all 110 of you hit the like button right now, we would pick up probably 100 subs. Like right now.
Yeah.
If all 100 of you hit the like button, man, that would really help us grow. I should be saying that more. So first of all, that's probably my fault. But yeah, I agree. It's a huge tip of the cap when you guys hit the like button for us. Jeremy Bolton says, I miss getting into it with Driftwood and Growcock, the casuals. Eric and Raleigh says, we built this city on rock and roll. Eric and Raleigh, honestly, you could be, Eric and Raleigh, the longest listener on this show.
Yeah,
you could be.
I think he's going on a decade.
Back to 2011-ish.
Yeah.
Back to 2011-ish.
Facts.
Lopes Fan Gabe was probably 2016-ish. Something like that. Like, it goes back. Like, in Jeremy Bolton, I think you used to listen to us at 1320K Fan.
The
sports leader. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's crazy. Eric says, Periscope was awesome. Twitch sucks. Yeah. I promise you today, I have an empty Rockstar can right here. We will play garbage can basketball for you today. You're right. That's
does anybody know anyone at Monster, by the way?
Yeah, Monster or Rockstar.
We need a contact, bro.
And it's dysfunctional locally. It's really dysfunctional.
I'm a Monster guy all day. I drink Rockstar, but I am definitely a white Monster guy.
Yeah. You know, Lopes Fan Gabe, a legend unto himself. Lopes Fan Gabe lives in Phoenix. He flew up to Provo, or flew into Salt Lake City to come to our barbecue pit stop event.
My word.
And the other day, posted a picture on Twitter of the package he got from Barbecue Pit Stop.
Yeah, dude.
Still shops with them.
Yep.
I mean, Eric and Raleigh says, first I heard Tim filling in for Gary Radnich during Christmas time on KMBR. One of the most nervous things I have ever done.
Why was it nervous for you?
Well, I was on TV. I was on the radio. And I never get nervous being on the radio. Like, it's just something that I've done for so long. But Gary Radnich was somebody that was a big flipping deal. And I just remember, talking to Gary about it, and he's like, yeah, I want you to fill in on my show. I want you to be the guy that they use. So I'm going to tell XYZ that you're going to be the guy to fill in. And so he like rubber stamped me at KMBR. Like it was crazy.
Yes.
And I can't remember who the guest was. It might have been Boach. It was somebody big came on the show that day. Like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we were on TV that day. We were on the radio, and we have like a huge name. It was crazy. Oh, and on top of that, I know Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. Him and I have interacted a little bit through my time there.
Yeah.
And he sent me a text message that day and said, "Congratulations, welcome back to San Francisco." Like, it was one of the craziest things ever.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so it was a big deal being on KGO. Like, I won a Murrow Award as part of, there was a plane crash back in, like, 2013 in San Francisco. An Asiana flight crashed at SFO.
Yeah, dude.
And I happened to be on the air when that happened. Like, San Francisco was amazing. Brett Burnett says, money is not the asset. Money is the tool we exchange with to get what we want. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Eric says, smash the like button, follow.
Let's go.
Absolutely. You should smash the like button and follow because you can also get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more when you get your pizza at Papa Murphy's Pizza.
Papa Murphy's presents How to Change the Way You Pizza. Step 1, carefully knead dough. Step 2, artfully spread sauce. Step 3, add fresh mozzarella and assemble toppings. Step 4, realize we already did all that for you, so all you have to do is bake it. For a limited time only, get the Hog Heaven Pizza with Canadian bacon, ground sausage, and crispy bacon. Papa Murphy's, change the way you pizza.
Absolutely change the way you pizza, my friends, because Papa Murphy's is where it's at. There's no doubt about that. And the other thing that I will always tell you is that the people at Papa Murphy's, again, local entrepreneurs.
Yes.
People at Quick Quack Car Wash who bring you the biggest stories in sports, local entrepreneurs. Every day here on the show, we are presented by our good friends at The Advocates, local entrepreneurs. I've known Matt Triggs for 10 years. Local entrepreneur, a guy that had a vision for a law firm, and look where they're at now at The Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business, and they just had a post on their Instagram about how they help you get your funds from Social Security, which is not easy to do anymore. Workman's comp, injury, Social Security. You need help, go to The Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. And it's the guys at Tri-Day Trading.
Yeah.
The guys down at Tri-Day Trading, local entrepreneurs. They're based in Lehigh. Like that's who we like doing business with. And that's not always possible. But we everything we do here on this show, we really try to do it with local entrepreneurs. Boyd Lake says, Monty dropping the Kevin O'Leary quotes. Great stuff on the Monty Show. And I don't mean to preach at you guys. Before we move back on to NBA, because I really do want to talk NBA, I want you to understand that we don't try to preach at you. I don't try to be the guy who's like, hey, that's funny. I don't want to try and be the guy that's always like, hey, you got to do this and you got to do that. Like, that's not who we are. But there's one thing in this life I'm passionate about, and that is us and you just kicking ass every single day. I'm a huge believer in that. Let's see. A New York Monty fan says, I started listening to the show on Apple Podcast for about a year, then finally wanted to see what the YouTube channel was all about. No comparison. Now I plan my day around the live show. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Thank you. That's so flattering to us. You're so flattering. Eric and Raleigh says, you were so great that day, Tim, and that's why I'm still here today. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Skeet says, Gary Rodriguez. Okay. Tanner says, I first found your show in January of 2021. At the time the Jazz were at the top of the NBA and the Utah media was hyping them up like no tomorrow. I was so sick of it and wanted some objectivity.
Well,
he said, I found you guys and I've been here ever since for the better or for most likely for worse.
Thank you, Tanner. Thank you.
Tanner is one of my guys, though. Absolutely one of my guys. But, Brent Burnett's, you're an interesting guy because he talks about investing on this show all the time. And he's like, sometimes I get turned into a piñata here.
I'm not really sure what that means, but...
Yeah, Giggity said, first time I heard you was the day you took over for that crappy AZ station. Was hesitant until you hooked me with the hot dog as a sandwich conversation. Oh, my good old guy. Napa Mike. The late Napa Mike.
Yes.
I miss him. San Diego State says Gary Radnich at KMBR was the man. He was. Jeremy Bolton says, giggity, freaking hot dog is a sandwich conversation, LOL. That's what I'm saying. Brandon Butler says, I've been with you guys since K-Fan. Appreciate that, Brandon. Good to see you. Les Wayman says, olives and pineapple with barbecue sauce. Les?
I really don't care if you think it's sus.
Listen, man, I appreciate you. But I'm just saying.
You can't be doing olives, dude. Olives are, come on, dude.
And by the way, tell Elmo to get back to me, man.
Yeah.
Like where are we at with
Yeah, come on.
We need the Elmo Wayman thing.
We're getting somewhere.
Pied Piper says, I found you guys around 2020 for the BYU Sports Talk, but I've stayed for you guys and your motivation to get life done. Oh, wow. Appreciate that. Les, I'm sending that to Elmo Wayman.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. I'm telling on you. Eric and Raleigh says, any news on the special ops friend of yours? No,
Dude,
the Stever. We were just talking about Stever the other day.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, the Stever was man, we have had some guys on this show.
Yeah, dude, the Stever was a bad dude. Like,
he was a black ops.
Dude.
So much to the point, like, he found us on the shitty radio station in Scottsdale. And I'll never say the name. I'll always call it that because it was a dump. Holy cow. But he listened to the show regularly, and he used to send us like pictures and stuff of all the guys like watching our Facebook feed. He would send us pictures. And then one day, we didn't know what he did. We had no idea who he was.
We just like knew that he was like someone in the service. Like,
we knew he was in the military.
Yeah.
And then he sent me a picture of my house, above my house. Like he was flying over it. And it was like, you know those pictures in a aircraft, or he was in a helicopter, and there's like the gunship and it has like the crosshairs in it. He sent a picture to our to my phone. I want to say on when disappearing, that's right. He's the first guy who ever told me about vanishing mode. So he sent a picture of my house in the crosshairs in vanishing mode. And then we started talking and we got to know him, and it turns out he was like a black ops guy. And he would listen to the show and then he would just disappear. And he would come back and he'd be like, yo, I'm back. And then one day he told us, well, hey, I have COVID, and I have really bad COVID.
Yeah.
COVID's terrible. It's really bad. Like, it's awful.
The coronavirus.
And then he got it, like, I think he said he had COVID like 7 times.
And this was back when it was like the OG variant.
Yeah.
Like the OG virus.
Like, he was saying, hey, I have COVID. I've had COVID like 7 times, right? And so he would tell us that, and he got better. He got over it. And then one day he started saying, well, hey, I'm going to go on a mission. So I'm going to be gone for a while. I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
I can't do X, Y, or Z.
Right.
But I'm going to be gone for a while, but I'll be back.
Yeah.
And then he came back like 2 months later. And then he was like, yeah, I was on a mission. And then he started telling me a little bit more about what he did.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, hey, I'm going here, or hey, we did this, or dude,
so
I'm really.
I said, yeah.
And then at the end of the time that Stever and I were talking on DM, he said, I'm going away and it's going to be a long time. And I can almost vividly remember the last thing I said to him was, hey, God bless you. Thanks for your service. I can't wait to hear back from you. And we've never heard back from him. And I don't know how long ago
like
that
4
was.
years.
It's been a long time.
That happened towards the end of our time at the garbage pile known as the radio station.
It's been a long time,
man.
And
so that was that 2019? 2018?
Something like that.
You know, because I started the Yelpatory October of 2019, which was only a month or so after we had left the radio station. And I think it was about a couple months before that happened to us that he had said that. So it's been like 4 years.
It was, I'm a huge supporter of the military. I think you guys probably know that. Like, I have a good bit of military and law enforcement in my family. And so living in Phoenix is a huge, much like Salt Lake City, you know, with Hill and all the Air Force bases and the military presence that's here if you look at Arizona, like the military presence there is massive. And so it's like when those guys interact with the show, I go out of my way to be like, oh, hey, thanks for your service. And I don't even remember what he was a fan of or where he was originally from, but it was so crazy the day he sent us that picture of our house.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
we had lived there like 3 weeks. We had just moved.
Well, it shows you the ability that guys like him have to get information, dude. Like, it's crazy.
I don't know how he knew my phone number, but he sent me pictures, and I thought for a long time he was just some jerk being like, hey, I'm cool. But then he would like send us pictures inside a helicopter, or he'd send us pictures like they hubbed out or they lived out of whatever, a barracks or wherever they were. But he would send us pictures of a group of guys in front of a laptop watching the show on Facebook. So like you knew he was legit, because how would you know my phone number? How would you know where I lived? How would you know where the house was? Like,
once he did that, I was like, okay, this guy has resources.
And it's really unfortunate. I hope I hear from him again. Yeah. I don't know. I know that
and it's hard, like with the military, you don't know what defines a long time, because there were times where he was gone for a couple months, but like you said, he'd pop back
in. But now it's been
to be different.
I don't know how long it's been, but it seems like it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Like it seems like it's been a long time.
What did Gage Carter say right there?
Gage Carter said, I've been watching you guys for 4 or 5 months now, and now y'all are a part of my morning routine. Oh, I appreciate that,
dude.
Salty Drunk says, loyalty is setting my alarm for midnight to watch live each day. Appreciate that. Les Wayman says, Alma agrees with me on olives on Pete. No, he doesn't. No, he does not.
Sometimes I think I just say shit.
That hurts me. Yes, Eric and Raleigh, bad meaning great. Tanner says, man, I'm on the front runner train and the train attendant is so freaking annoying. He won't shut up and he keeps saying good morning every 5 minutes. So sorry to be friendly. Tanner says, yes, you can call me a stick in the mud, but I'm still freaking annoying. Yeah, but you're amazing, dude. You're amazing. Lopes Van Gabe says, since we're going down memory lane, I remember you guys started in the afternoon on that crappy radio station. Honestly, didn't, quote, get or like the show until you guys moved to mornings. Been here since. Oh, I appreciate that, man.
Why do you think that is? Just out of curiosity. I'm curious about that. And I always ask these questions because listener experience is super important to what we do. So, like, I'm curious, was it just time of day and like that? Or, like, I'm just really curious on that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think... So we were on a radio station in Phoenix that was, honestly, didn't have any equipment, never paid us anything. When we had to sell advertising to be on the show, and we would sell advertising, they stiffed us on it. Like it was brutal. And we started, I think, doing like noon to 3 or 1 to 3 or something stupid like that. And they were really, the owner of that station was like, sports. We need sports. We're like, I tell you, lifestyle, man. No, we need sports. And so then the morning show flamed out. And so we started doing mornings. And we actually had like the first ratings ever on the station doing mornings. We had like a good bit of advertising, and they just couldn't get it right.
Won an award.
Yeah. Won Best of the Valley and Best Sports Talk Show in the Valley. Gabe voted for us 1 million times. Appreciated that. It's just, to me, it's crazy. Let's see. Jared Eccles says, this show is the best part of my day through the week. Weekends and almost feel empty without the show. Keep up the amazing work, fellas. Jared Eccles, who went to, was Jared the one that sent us a picture of Super Chicks?
Super Chicks, yeah.
By the way,
went yesterday too, Jared, just so you know.
We will be at Super Chicks. Yeah, we had, I still don't understand that. Bacavo.
Bacon and avocado put together. Bacavo.
Nah. And it's actually good. I'm ball busting.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Fat.
Their bacon's actually really good at Super Chicks.
I was eating this sandwich yesterday and a piece of bacon fell out. I just took the whole piece of bacon, dipped it in ranch, and ate it.
But he used the piece of bacon. He folded the piece of bacon in half and used it as a ladle to make sure you got optimum amounts of ranch.
Dude, I needed the optimum amount of ranch.
Come on. Lee Jensen says, I'll be there Saturday if I can switch with my coworker. Oh, appreciate that, Lee.
And by the way, remember, the first 100 people on Saturday to get there, and these are not, and again, it's not just our listeners from the show.
Yes.
100 people from the general public, right? To come through that door on Saturday,
Get free food.
Free food. So that's what I'm
Get free
saying.
food.
Like, get there.
Yeah, I agree. Tyson, do you want to? You can. Is the door unlocked? You can come in. Like Tyson Whiting. I think the door's unlocked. I don't remember. Tyson Whiting, my Utah Grizzlies play-by-play guy, joins us. Sometimes Tyson just wanders up here and it's like, okay, yeah, come on in, dude. Come on in. There's Tyson. You see him walking across. There he is. Wait.
You gotta plug the headphones in. For some reason, these are unplugged.
Yeah, and yeah. Hi, Tyson.
Day.
Start of a very long day.
It's a game day, you know. So it's you get up, you get here at the office about 7:30. You print about 15 trees worth of paper and
That's
stats
right.
and notes, and get after it against the Stillheads tonight.
Absolutely. By the way, if you guys have not been to the Maverick Center lately, and I mean you're a guy that has more experience at the Maverick Center than most of us, how different's the building going to be tonight?
It's going to look different. Yeah, big video board at center ice,
Yeah,
which has
dude.
been needed for years, and so it looks great, and it almost looks like it's a little bit too close to the ice. I think it's debatable, but yeah, I will see if anybody tries to clear the puck out of the zone and gets close to that thing. But that's going to look good. The ribbon board looks like there's a lot more color to it. That's been updated.
Yeah.
And,
those three big, there's like three big at the far end
Yeah.
of the building. They put up these three big video boards, and I can't believe they would be able to get those working. I mean, that would be moving heaven and earth.
Yeah.
But I think you're right, Tyson. That how long have people been saying we need a Jumbotron in the Maverick Center? Like a long time.
and now there's one right there.
And there is. And it's the one from Vivid Arena, by the way.
Yes.
It's the old one, the big center scoreboard, because they got a new one for the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And so all of that stuff came over to Maverick Center because the Salt Lake Stars are going to play at Maverick Center starting Monday against James Wiseman and the Santa Cruz Warriors.
Oh, that's right. I got to go to that game if Wiseman's going to play.
Yes.
Yeah,
he is,
we
dude.
do.
Yes, he is.
We should go. It's going to be amazing. They were, by the way, we asked for James Wiseman to come on the show. They said no. They said no. They won't. He is not doing media at this time.
By the way, if you want headphones, those are working.
You can put
if you would like.
I can hear you guys just fine.
Yeah, okay, good. So let's see. Everybody's still talking about food. Oh, my God. I remember this. Riley O'Brien said, Monty, you gave me lounge passes that included Rockstar and Wings in like 2014 for Utah and Oregon. The game Kalen Clay dropped the ball before crossing the goal line. You've always been cool and generous. Do you remember where we were when that happened?
I don't.
We were at Legends Sports Bar downtown. And we had all the listeners who couldn't get into the game. We had a watch party because it was by far the biggest home game, I think, ever. Like, that game was huge when Oregon came to town. We were at Legend Sports Bar, and we had a huge watch party there. I want to say it was me, Gunther, Ben Wilson, Will Smith, you, my wife was there. It was an incredible watch party. And when Kalen Clay is running for the touchdown, right? Who remembers this?
Yeah, dude.
Kalen Clay is running for the touchdown to the far pylon. I can see the TV to my upper left, right? He drops the ball, and we're all freaking out because he's in the end zone. They're going to beat Oregon. It's early in the game. It's a huge win for the Utes. And all of a sudden, they weren't putting their hands up to call a touchdown. And I just remember Legends, which was packed to the brim, got really quiet. I'll never forget that.
And it was like the awkward moment of the play where Oregon picked up the ball.
Yes.
Oregon picks the ball up.
Yes.
And there's like 5 of them just running down
and we're
the
trying
sideline.
to figure out what's going on. Like, what the heck is going on? And Kalen Clay had dropped the ball between the 1 and the goal line.
Clearly had to.
It wasn't close.
It was definitive.
Oh, my God.
And he had the great touchdown celebration and everything.
Yes. Yes. And at that time, Gunther, working with Kyle Gunther, obviously, I would call him a Ute legend. The guy, he's one of the biggest personalities I think that's ever played for Witt. And a really good offensive lineman, by the way. But I just remember Gunther doesn't usually get emotional about sports. He was and Tyson, you produced his show for years. You probably can attest to this. Gunther was very level about Utah football. Like, he was never the guy that was like, we're dying, or, oh, my God, it's amazing. He was just always right down the middle. I will never forget how pissed off he was about that play.
I'd have been pissed, too.
Oh, my God. Kalen Clay, oh, my God. That play was amazing. Tanner Plummer says, my favorite episode of the show was when you guys talked about the time the Tangerine Twitter machine got the cocoa and how he got the Regeneron cocktail. Okay. I appreciate that.
Regeneron.
Tanner Plummer also says, oh, hi, Tyson. Tanner says hello, Tyson.
Well, hi, Tanner. Yeah, you were talking about Jaron Eccles. It was interesting. I actually went to the 2011 NBA draft at downtown, the Jazz draft party. Went with his dad and him, and we're driving there, and it's rush hour, trying to get to the draft there before when it starts. Jazz, I think, had picks 3 and 12 that year. They ended up taking Ennis Cantor and Alec Burks, but I remember going there. We get to about a red light, and I knew that if I had to make this red light, I got to cruise it. Right. So I just make a charge for it. I just hit the gas.
Yeah, of course.
I get through the red light. I look up, the light's red. And I could see those two were really concerned, you, Jared, and Brian. And I'm thinking, geez, these guys think I'm a terrible driver. So I go, made it. Just to reassure them, hey,
made it.
Everything's just fine.
But did you die?
Did not die. And of course, they're thinking I'm this terrible driver. Then we get on the way back after the draft ends, and sure enough, about the same thing happens. Same scenario. I hit the gas again. I go, made it.
That's awesome.
Well, years later, my dad tells me a story because we used to work together and stuff, and so he's like, yeah, Jared and Brian were telling me the story about how you just about ran a couple red lights, and so they turned it into their own thing. Like every time they were close to a red, Jared would always say, "Made it."
Nice,
made it nice. On his life.
That's awesome. Yeah, and Jaron again yesterday. Jaron was one of the guys yesterday who went into Super Chicks. We will be there Saturday. 10 to noon, Super Chicks on Riverdale Road. Technically, it's Riverdale, but it is Ogden. But technically, it's technically Riverdale, but we call it the Super Chicks in Ogden on Riverdale Road, 10 to noon. First 100 people, I'm telling you, you get free food. We will compare ranches because I am telling you, the people at Super Chicks, I don't know what they put in their ranch. Dude. I'm guessing it's Colombian Pure. I could be wrong. Brett Burnett says the Jumbotron's expensive. Why, yes, it is. Boyd Lake says Gunther's stories about Urban Meyer. He hated that guy. Nobody likes Urban Meyer. Gunther used to tell stories about how Urban Meyer would threaten people's scholarships. Oh, well, if you're not going to make that block, we're pulling your scholar. Or if you're not going to do this, we're going to pull your scholarship. Like, it's remarkable. Gunther has, and that's the thing about Kyle Gunther. What makes him so incredibly talented is he has a million stories.
He has perspective.
He played the game. He played for Urban Meyer. When he played for Urban and Witt, and he was a starter on offense.
Yeah.
Just his weight loss. I don't know how many people even recognize the fact that. What is Kyle Gunther? Probably 200 pounds soaking wet these days. But like that guy was a fat offensive lineman who used to joke about being a fat offensive lineman.
I remember him telling stories about how much he had to eat and what you have to do to put on all that weight.
And just walking up the stairs, just being tired, just walking up the stairs, being that weight, man, is crazy. The stories that he would tell.
Yeah,
Kyle Gunther is a great storyteller. And again, I know where Ben Anderson is. Obviously, he's at KSL Sports. I know where Mitch Harper is. He's at KSL Sports. But I have no idea what Ben Wilson's doing. I don't know where. Last we heard, I think Jeremy Bolton's the guy who said he saw Kyle Gunther working at Salty Peaks.
Yeah.
The snowboard shop we go to. But it's just crazy. So, K-Fan alum, Tyson Whiting sitting here as the voice of the Utah Grizzlies, right? Doing exceptionally well. You have Ben Anderson, who is doing a talk show and covers the Jazz for KSL, doing exceptionally well.
Yeah.
Mitch Harper, who started with us at KFan, is essentially covering all things BYU for KSL. Like, there are some guys that are doing some amazing things. Then there's us. We just do this little talk show.
JP Chunga working with the Jazz.
What's that?
JP Chunga working with the Jazz.
Oh, is he really? JP Chunga? Oh, man, JP Chunga. Probably the best intern I've ever had, JP Chunga.
Uh-huh.
A Syracuse apologist, JP Chunga. But you always knew, though, JP Chunga was always going to do something.
Yeah.
Like, he's just I think you would agree, Tyson. You worked with him every day.
Yeah.
JP Chunga was a really smart guy. Yep. He was, and he can, again, another guy that can really tell stories.
Now he's a lot more successful than I am. And I think you could see that coming from a mile away.
Guy, you're the voice of a professional hockey team. You do play-by-play for the Grizzlies. Yeah. I'm going to say you're not doing so bad yourself.
Yeah.
You should be doing a talk show, by the way. I still, and I will say this until I'm blue in the face. You're a really good play-by-play guy. And I actually heard some of your baseball play-by-play the other day on accident.
Yeah.
And your baseball play-by-play is really good. You're not going to admit that, but.
No, it was a bit of an adjustment. You know, it seemed like I got better as the season went on back in 2018 with the Idaho Falls Chuckers, who are now an independent team, but at the time they were a Royals affiliate.
Yep.
And it's just like you get a July night in Helena, Montana, and I'll never forget the booth in Helena because it was just like one press box. I was on one side and the other announcer was on the other side, so you could hear the other broadcast clearly. And, you know, ninth inning, we're making a comeback. You know, we're down like 5 runs going into the ninth inning. We make a comeback. The other guy is now having a meltdown on the other side. I'm trying not to laugh at him. That's awesome. Helena makes one error after another.
I love it. Let's see. Jaron Eccles says he blew in all capital letters, BLEW. He blew through that red light. We still quote that every single time we go through a questionable yellow.
It was yellow about the time I got to the intersection.
Okay, but what's questionable?
Well, yeah,
for
what
yellow?
is questionable?
What's questionable? I mean, is a questionable yellow like where you're not in the intersection and the light's yellow, or what's the rules?
A questionable. We saw it this morning driving to Maverick Center, right? Like we saw a guy blow through a red light, and when I say blow through a red light, homie was 15 feet short of the light when it turned red.
4 a.m, no one on the road. So do you get a little leeway for running lights at that time of day, or is the rule still the rule?
I don't know, Tyson. What's blowing through a red light?
Well, I think if you got to get to that line, you got to get to that line above the light. But by the time it gets yellow, then you get through it when it's yellow, and then even if you look up and it's red and you've passed it, I mean you're good.
Are you a good driver? Because I freely admit that I'm the best driver on
I'm from
Earth.
Utah, so no, I'm not a good driver.
See, at least he owns it. See, at least
exactly right.
Hey, like it is what it is.
Right. You're not. You can't be a good driver. On the Monty Show, where, by the way, if you get in an accident, you should call the advocates or go to the website, UtahAdvocates.com. Exactly right, Tyson. So, yeah, you can't be. Salty Drunk says Tyson has a great voice for play-by-play and does a great job calling the game. Hockey is not an easy sport.
This is somebody, just so you know, Tyson, Salty Drunk lives in Australia and listens to you call games.
Yeah.
Like, what time is it by the time it gets to game time?
Midnight.
Oh, my. Well, by the time it gets to game time, it's morning in Australia.
Yeah, it would be morning in Australia. Yeah.
Right, because he starts listening to this show at midnight.
Yeah.
He still owes us a case of 4X Gold, which we're never going to get.
Which is some of the best beer you can get in Australia.
And by the way, Salty Drunk, we are planning an Australia venture. So we may come by and knock on your door, and you better have my 4X Gold.
Yeah.
Or nothing will happen.
Exactly.
Tanner says, I don't usually get pissed about sports, but as an Eagles fan, I was really pissed off the last Monday night. Well, you probably should have been.
You should be.
You probably should have been.
Well, I thought the Commanders played a great game Monday.
They did.
They controlled the football. They ran the ball. And it almost seems like the one kryptonite that the Eagles have is you can run the ball on them, control the game, keep Jalen Hurts off the field. And now Dallas Goedert's out with an injury, which hurts my fantasy team. I was going to pick up Cole Kmet, and I got him on waivers. And some idiot got him before I did. So now I had to go back to plan B looking for a tight end.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's one of those things where it's so many teams, and we were talking about the best quarterbacks in the NFL, right? And I think there are so many teams in the National Football League who cannot play from behind, and I think the Eagles are one of those teams. Like as much as I advocate for Jalen Hurts, and I think Jalen deserves opportunities, and I think he is rightfully the starting quarterback of that team, and we should stop questioning that. He's not a guy you want playing from behind.
Yeah.
He is not. You don't want Lamar Jackson playing from behind. I don't think necessarily you want Josh Allen playing from behind, right? But if it's Justin Herbert, pocket passer, traditional pro-style guy, I'll have him playing from behind.
Right.
But I don't want Justin Fields playing from behind.
Tommy.
I want Tommy playing from ahead or behind. I think Tommy's a great come from behind guy. But if you look across the league at some of the quarterbacks in this league, they're going to struggle playing from behind. And I think the Eagles are probably far more better off playing from the lead, which goes without saying. But in the NFL, you're gonna trail. San Diego State Aztec says, I have lots of stories. However, I'm not a great storyteller, which is one reason I like listening to Monty, listening and learning. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Riley O'Brien, who, by the way, again, I always try to remember to say, You should go to General RV in Draper and see Riley O'Brien.
Yeah, dude. Guy's
Because
for real.
The guy is an unbelievable RV salesman. Said, badass that Tim and Jake do a show together and Jake can hold his own. Monty's show is elite. You've really grown as a talk show host. You are. We've had some battles over this.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got into this nostalgic thing.
It
all started with the tri-day trading argument.
Dude, I love the days when we do this.
I do too.
I love talking about it.
Some of the most enjoyable shows we do
Yeah.
are about the crappy radio station in Phoenix where we overcame and won the award for the best talk show in Arizona.
And blowing through yellow lights.
And Tyson being a terrible driver from Utah who blows through yellow lights.
That's what we as people remember. Like those are the stories that you latch onto, like
Tyson, what is your greatest 1320K fan memory? My greatest memory, and I think I've shared this on the show.
Yeah.
My greatest Tyson Whiting memory, and I was the program director at 1320K.
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was the program director at 1320K Fan.
The sports leader.
Exactly right. So I was the program, Nick Saban, program director.
You got to say program.
Yes,
Tyson gets it.
Tyson gets it.
You see what
Absolutely.
I mean?
So I'm the program director at 1320K Fan. And we had this really nice lady that was the business manager. And she comes to me one day and she's like, hey, can you talk to Tyson? I'm like, okay. Okay, what happened? Because you don't hear from Tyson.
Right.
Tyson doesn't complain. Tyson doesn't ask you for anything.
His job.
He just shows up and does his job.
Yeah, which is amazing.
And she's like, well, he's not turning in his pay slips. I was like, well, what do you mean? Well, he's not turning in his pay slips.
Right.
I'm like, okay, no problem. So I'm like, hey, Tyson, hey, man, we can't pay you unless you turn in your pay slips. So then he's like, okay, yeah, no problem. Turns in his pay slips. She comes to me like 2 months later. Hey, I'm going to need you to talk to Tyson. He's not picking up his paychecks. I'm like, what? So I go to Tyson, and I remember in the studio, in the program studio,
right? Yeah.
The control room there was a wall. One side was the talk studio. The other side was a control room.
Yeah.
And so I walked in there, and I hand Tyson, I think, 2 paychecks. I said, hey, dude, you need to get paid. And Tyson's like, no, I don't want to get paid. I just, I like being here. And so at that point I was like, dude, you're doing a really good job. You need to get paid. Like you're producing the afternoon show.
Yeah.
And you literally would not take your paycheck.
I thought it was just direct deposit. I didn't know there was a physical check there.
I just thought I thought it was fantastic. So what are your memories of 1320K Fan?
I mean, a lot of them came when I was an intern, just trying to find a way to stay in the door. It's like, okay, my foot's in the door. I got to find a way to stay here. I remember Don Shula showed up in the afternoon one day about a month into my internship and got to see Don Shula. I even got to see David Shula, the former Bengals head coach there too.
Yes.
So that was a lot of fun. And then I remember there was like the last season of Stump the Schwab. And the winner of Stump the Schwab just happened to be a Utah. It was a college edition. So you had college students. Well, the winner just happened to be from the University of Utah. It was a local kid, a guy named Michael Smith. And so he's on about 3:30. Gunther and Graham are talking to him. And
Gunther and Graham.
And so it's like, I'm listening to that and going, I bet I can beat him and Stump the Schwab. I bet I can beat him in a trivia contest. So I don't know if it was a text or something. I challenge him. I'm like, look, me and him, we're going to do this. We're a trivia contest. So somehow we got it set up, and we got about Thursday afternoon. I had to go to Costco to get a pizza. And we had a segment at 4 o'clock in the afternoon where it was me and the defending champion of Stump the Schwab, and we're in the studio, and we're doing a trivia contest. We're going back and forth, and I eventually won.
You did.
The winning question was about teams that had never reached the Super Bowl, and I was able to pick out a few. Browns, Jaguars, Lions.
Wow, that's incredible. That's what I know you for. If I'm being totally honest, what I know you for is you have an encyclopedia style memory.
This is what I won. I won the Ryan Leaf rookie card. I won this for winning that contest on KFan.
Do you want that signed? I know Ryan Leaf personally. We are friends. If you ever want that signed, I can get it
probably
signed.
Want a better version of the card. This one's a little beat up.
That's what I think of you as. You have like unfathomable knowledge of sports.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you and my good friend John Dickinson, who's at 95.7 The Game in San Francisco. I can say to John Dickinson, September 29th, 1987.
Look here, man.
Where were the San Francisco Giants and what was the game about? John Dickinson can say, well, the way the schedule's structured, they would have been in Cincinnati. And, that trip, the odd thing about, and he can give you a story, a game score, and something that happened in that game.
I do that. That's about the time when the Giants were winning the NL West. They ended up going to the playoffs that year.
You guys.
The hell out of here with that.
They lost the Cardinals in 7 games. That was
look at it, dude.
Like, who does that?
Well, that was the famous NLCS where Jeffrey Leonard had, just went off, hit a home run every game, like the first 4 games, and went one flat down with his home run trot.
I promise you, we did not plan this. I did not know you were coming up here. We did not plan this.
Nope.
I didn't know I was coming up here either. I was thinking about getting some breakfast, but
God, breakfast sounds so good.
Oh my God.
Well, okay, what's your go-to breakfast spot around the map? Where do you go?
Carl's Jr. They got a 2 for $5 deal with the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits.
So good.
Biscuits or McMuffins? Like, so at McDonald's, it's biscuits. You can get a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit,
which is good,
or sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin. I haven't had McDonald's in about a month. I guess it is now. Maybe.
But you're a McGriddle guy.
I'm a McGriddle guy. Tyson, is it biscuits or is it McMuffins?
Probably McMuffins.
Probably McMuffins.
It's just the biscuits are a little bit too thicker.
Yeah.
The McMuffins.
They really
go down
are.
a little
See,
bit
that's
easier.
what Chick-fil-A has down. See, Chick-fil-A's biscuits are thick cut, but they're really soft. Like, I don't know what they do to make them soft, but they're easy to eat because of that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, let's see. A couple of guys have questions. Let's get into it. Tom says, thoughts on things like the Manning cast for a professional play-by-play guy. Is it good, bad, or whatever? Are you, as a guy who does play-by-play for a living, are you a fan of the Manning cast?
It's good as an alternative. I mean,
I would agree.
They pretty much take advantage of the fact there's a visual, so it's not like they have to describe the game.
Right.
And even some play-by-play guys, it's like in radio, I enjoy listening to Kevin Harlan, and, most nights it's Kurt Warner as his analyst. I enjoy listening to the radio broadcasts on Westwood One because you get a description of the game.
Yep.
Whereas, guys like Joe Buck, Mike Tirico, they know there's a visual there. So they can, I wouldn't say get lazy, but they can kind of minimalize
They let it ride a
description.
little bit. Yeah, they let it ride a little bit. Like we watch, so we have DirecTV. The only way for us to watch the Jazz is is through DirecTV. Good luck. Yeah, good luck. But I usually watch The Road because Holly Rowe is just not my flavor. So I watched Mike Breen the other night.
Yes.
And I think Mike Breen is lovely, but he does exactly what you talked about. Mike Breen lets kind of the game unfold while they're having a conversation. And why, for the life of me, I can't remember the former player he had on with him.
Wally Zerbiak.
Wally Zerbiak. Thank you.
What a name,
Tyson.
dude. Yeah.
Wally Zerbiak. Good, by the way, I'd hit that. Good looking dude. We'll move on. Anyway, my point is,
he beat Utah in the second round in 1999. Utah went to the Final Four with Rick Majerus, and then the next year, Wally Zerbiak knocked out Utah in the second round.
You remember how good he was in college?
He was great.
Oh, my God. Probably didn't live up to it in the pros, but Wally Zerbiak could ball. Anyway, but Mike Breen does pretty much exactly what you talked about. Mike's not going to call every single – and I don't know how you do it in hockey. Like, I think hockey is one of the most difficult play-by-play gigs, which is why I think it makes you unbelievable. Like, you call every puck movement. Like, being your color guy, and for those of you who don't know, you should go right now and subscribe to the Utah Grizzlies YouTube channel because you hear it's essentially the radio outlet for the Grizzlies. And so you see Tyson calling the game, and I do the color, I'm on the bench at home games, and he's up top, and then he does road games in here. But the crazy thing is you call like every movement of the puck, and I think it's incredibly difficult. I think it's I think calling hockey is an art form. I think you can do it and you can learn it, but I think you do such a good job at it. Would you rather call baseball or hockey?
Oh, baseball. It's there's a lot more conversation going on between pitches, and you can kind of set the narrative a little bit more. In hockey, you just kind of watch the game and describe what you see. It's very difficult.
I would totally agree with that. By the way, the biggest stories in sports on this show, as always, are brought to you by Quick Quack Car Wash, our good friends at Quick Quack. We appreciate all you guys. Our Guy Talking with Raphael podcast. Sent us a picture on Twitter yesterday of him going through the Quick Quack car wash. Appreciate that.
In his Tacoma.
Again, in his Tacoma. Again, local entrepreneurs that own the Quick Quacks here in Utah. Love those folks. And the best part about it is you get really friendly service when you go to Quick Quack, and you deal with human beings, which I actually value. So I don't have to stick my card in a machine, or they like scan my wash pass right through. There was a line at the district yesterday, but you're in and out in 5 minutes, which I think is great. So awesome to have Quick Quack as part of the show. Thanks, guys, for being here. But Tyson, I think hockey, like I was watching the Blackhawks lose again to the St. Louis Blues last night because, well, frankly, that's all the Hawks do with the Blues and everybody else. I'm kind of bitter.
It's really despicable.
But just listening to, there used to be a guy named Pat Foley.
Yeah, just Pat Foley.
Yeah, so my play-by-play guy in my life, probably my favorite guy is Pat Foley.
Yeah.
And I'm only a passionate hockey fan because of Pat. But having done football and baseball play-by-play, I think my favorite play-by-play is baseball. I would agree with you because there's more stories. But if I have to think back to my childhood, I have memories of Pat Foley and Dale Talon putting me to sleep at night. Yeah. Like when I was a kid, I used to live in a town called Northbrook, Illinois, and I was a huge Blackhawk fan. My dad would take me to probably 3 games a year, and then like I would go with our neighbor, had season tickets, so he would take me to like 3 games a year. And but Pat Foley and Dale Talon, dude,
yep,
those guys.
But again, that's what we as people remember.
Yes.
Right? Like we remember the voice on the radio that we fell asleep in the car to, or like, you know, whatever it is. Like we all remember that.
And growing up here, it was always Hot Rod Hundley. And Ron Boone.
Well, and again, I know I've told this story on the show before, but for me, the biggest achievement in my career was just meeting Chick Hearn. But the moment of my life was I got to produce Chick Hearn's talk show, the Laker Line it was called at the time. And him and Vin Scully were very good friends. So Vin Scully came by one day when he was at a Laker game. And actually that day, it was John Miller, Vin Scully, and Chick Hearn.
Jesus.
In the building, which was incredibly rare. Because John Miller obviously is the voice of the LA Kings.
Yeah.
Chick Hearn was the voice of the Lakers, and Vin was the voice of the Dodgers. But there was a lot of overlap, especially in October.
Yeah.
So I don't remember the scenario that made that happen, but just sitting there with Vin and Chick Hearn and just listening to them and listening to when I worked in St. Louis for the Cardinals, getting to do an inning of Major League Baseball play-by-play was crazy. But sitting in the booth with Mike Shannon for St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and then on Friday nights we did a show in St. Louis called Shannon's Place. Because Mike had Shannon's Steak and Seafood right across the street from the new Busch Stadium. And so I used to do the TV post-game show for the St. Louis Cardinals. And so I would sit at that table on Friday nights in the corner of this steakhouse. Mike Shannon would come over. And then it would be like Bob Costas is a St. Louis icon. So Bob Costas would come over. And again, the night that Vin Scully came over, and he brought Tommy Lasorda with him. And I can't remember who the other... Oh, Eric Karros was the other guy. Those 3 guys sitting at a table with Mike Shannon. And I'm just sitting there hosting the show, listening to those guys talk baseball. I didn't say a word. But just listening to Vin Scully. And the conversation was, I believe, about Jackie Robinson. And I remember Vin telling the story of Jackie Robinson's travails after his playing career.
Yeah.
And it was just, it's amazing. But when you talk about storytelling, I mean, the baseball storytelling, it's really tough to beat that, Tyson. I think much to your point. Like, who did you idolize growing up? Hot Rod Hundley had to be, right?
Yeah, Hot Rod Hundley. In football, it was probably Jack Buck on the radio.
Yes.
And then a little bit of John Rooney, who might have been there in St. Louis about that time. He showed up in like 2006. John Rooney is pretty good. Joel Myers is pretty good.
Joel Myers.
He's got that great voice.
Pelicans, formerly of the Lakers, Joel Myers. Desperately wanted that job. But yeah, I think it's fun. Tanner says, I miss Hot Rod. Absolutely. Oh, yes. Brian Hornbeck. Jack Fleming, Steelers and West Virginia football.
Yeah.
Jack Fleming is a name I have not heard. Man. Tanner says, as much as I call out BYU TV for being homers, they do a good job calling games. Greg Wrubell is
Class.
amazing.
Top class.
Greg Wrubell doesn't know me from Adam, and yet every time I've ever seen him or had him on my show, he's treated me like gold. And it's just the guy, like, that's the thing. NY Monty fan says, never liked Ron Boone growing up, but Matt Harpring was worse. Booner's great. The first time I ever came to Salt Lake City, I was driving to Sacramento, I want to say. And I had been working at the Sporting News. I'd been writing columns and producing radio at Sporting News. And so I used to come on and do guest appearances on the old K-Fan with David Locke. And so I came through one morning, and it was Ron Boone doing mornings. Oh, my God, it went right out of my head. The K-Bear morning guys, Mick and Alan. And Alan and Booner were doing mornings on K-Fan. And I did 3 days of morning shows with them in the old K-Fan studios. And it was sitting next to Booner, you just quickly realize the guy is an unbelievable basketball mind.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. I have some crazy stories about Salt Lake City, never having worked or lived here until 2013. I mean, it's nutty. He doesn't. Riley O'Brien says he doesn't puck around.
See what he did there?
Get it, Tyson, like to puck around.
He said puck around.
Puck around. Yeah, that is a good one. Alex Chacon says, I like David Locke as a person, but I cannot listen to him do play-by-play. He also has insane technical difficulties every episode of his podcast. Do you like David Locke as a play-by-play guy?
I will say his style's different. It's
very different.
It's not necessarily a style I'm crazy about. I mean, it's one of those where it's just like you always hear about, when you think about tips of doing play-by-play, how it's more stories than stats. And it seems like he's gotten better at, less stats, and the stats he does use are a little bit more meaningful. Having a couple more stories.
I would agree with that.
Stories over stats always seem to be a good formula. Plus, it seemed like early in his time with the Jazz, you wouldn't hear the score as much, and he's gotten a lot better at mentioning the score a few times.
This dude right here absolutely hates David Locke for one reason. He never gives the time and score. Whenever we catch David Locke on the radio, he's like, what's the score? We will sit in my car driving down the road running red lights, and Jake will be like, what's the score? What's the score? Dude, just once, give me the score.
Score and time. That's all I need you to do. That's it.
It drives him.
Yeah, I mean, that's
crazy.
Dude.
It drives him crazy.
Although I remember David Locke towards the end of his first tenure in Utah when he was just a sports talk guy, and he was a pretty good one.
He was.
He kind of had that 90s flair to him.
A
lot of energy, and somehow about the finals years, he'd gotten really critical of Karl Malone.
Yep.
And the story goes, Karl Malone said it's me or him, and him being David Locke.
Oh, wow.
Well, not that long later after that, David Locke was in Seattle.
Wow. Is that right?
I think David Locke has tried to have everybody forget about me or him, but, he was all over Karl Malone.
I never knew that. That's fascinating. See, again, Tyson Whiting with a great story. Tanner says David Locke isn't bad. His homerism does come out, and there are times where where he's objective. Oh, I would agree with that. This
market's full of homers, though. I mean, come on.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that's true. Jeremy Bolton, what's up, my guy? He says, I never understood the Harpring hate as a color guy. I liked him. Don't get me wrong. Love me some Thurl, but Harp wasn't so bad. I don't think it's that Harpring was bad. He just came off as arrogant sometimes. And that's what... And see, it's hard. I having been a color guy on a lot of different broadcasts, I can tell you it's really hard to find your way into a guy's style. And I think, and I do this with Tyson all the time, like your best analysis is things you don't say. If you just wait, usually the opportunity will present itself. And the worst thing that you can do is run over a guy. And the thing that bothered me about Harpring is there were a lot of times he would talk over Bowler. Yeah. And I actually think Bowler's play-by-play is really good.
Right.
I think it's really good. And this is what I don't understand about the Jazz broadcast. I don't believe that Holly Rowe brings much to the game.
Yeah.
I just think she's a female voice. She fits in.
She needs to be at the college level. She does really well with college athletics.
She's excellent. She was on the Kansas game the other night.
Yes.
And she was texting with Bill Self during the game and talking to his players after the game saying, hey, I was texting with your coach. And it was phenomenal. But then she gets on the Jazz broadcast and she fawns over the Jazz, and I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Like, if she would just be...
her or the whole town.
Well, there is something to be said about that.
I mean, the subtle thing when you're the voice of a team is you obviously it's going to be a little bit slanted towards the team you're calling the game for, but it's always you want to be a little bit more a bit subtle. It's just a little bit more enthusiasm when your team scores and not necessarily as much when the other team scores. Yeah. Other than that, you want fans of both teams and neutral observers to be able to enjoy the game as well.
Yep. Tanner Plummer says, wow, I can see Rice-Eccles Stadium from the front runner. Crazy. Yeah, you can. Tanner listens to the show, Tyson, on the front runner while he's going to school or work, I think. I don't know. Tom says Jan Jorgensen and some former Ute used to do a show. Wasn't that Gunther?
Yeah, it was Red and the Blue with Gunther and Jan.
Yeah, Red and Blue. Jan, some former Ute used to do a show together. I like that show and wonder what happened to it. Well, I mean, Gunther is...
Things happen.
Gunther's high maintenance at times. So, it happes.
Oh, that concept's never going to go away. There's always going to be some form of a Red and Blue show.
Well, doesn't 1280 do... They do a form of that on game day, or Fridays during football
they've got
season?
Fridays. At one point, it was Lavelle Edwards and Ron McBride doing a show there with Hans Olsen back when they were all around, and it was pretty good radio, especially since you could tell that Ron McBride really had no filter, so you weren't really sure what you were going to get from Ron McBride.
Ron McBride is hard to listen to now, and it makes me sad because he is a phenomenal football guy. Phenomenal football. We did man camp way back in the day at the event center in Farmington, and he's the one guy we tried to get and we couldn't get him.
Yeah,
and it's the one regret I have is that we didn't get him there. Anyway, Tom says, was that Gunther that would keep that they keep bringing up? Knew it was familiar and probably why it jogged my memory. Yes, I love that show. Yeah, it was a good show. It absolutely was a good show. And yeah, Gunther is. I miss Gunther on the radio. If Gunther's on the radio, you're going to stop and listen. It might be 2 minutes, it might be an hour, but you're going to stop and listen.
And before him, it seemed like Brian Johnson had a few months on the radio, and then Morgan Scally for a little bit was on the radio before Gunther.
It's unfortunate that ESPN 700 has turned so many guys over, because I actually think that I mean they should have. They should have held on to so many guys that have gone through there. I mean, I understand Tom Hackett.
It's politics, though, dude. Like,
it is,
and that's the thing with radio is like it's just so political now.
Well, it's the Jazz. It's Mr. Him or Me, the guy that reported and his name went out of my head.
Sean O'Connell.
Sean O'Connell.
Yeah.
Sean O'Connell should be doing a local talk show in Salt Lake City.
Absolutely baseless reporting, though.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. That was terrible. But I think Sean O'Connell's a phenomenal talk show host. He should be doing. You should be doing a show every day. I tell you that all the time. You should be as good as you are at play-by-play. I think you are phenomenal at doing a talk show.
Yeah.
And why you don't do a daily show, why you don't, and I know you do some podcasting, but why you don't do a daily show, I have no idea. Because you are, again, you're a really good play-by-play guy. You're a phenomenally talented talk show host. And I've told Tyson repeatedly he should do a show on our channel. You should do a daily show on our channel. You should. And I know that you have your Grizzlies responsibilities. Do a show 3 days a week, because I'm telling you, that's where you will become a superstar. If you ever decide to do a talk show full time, you will become a superstar. I'm telling you.
I think it just might happen one day.
It may. Well, you should do it. Well, here's one that I think a lot of people are talking about. Whoa, where did that go? Right here. Skeet says Doris Burke burned me out. Has Doris Burke become passé?
ESPN made a mistake with Doris.
Uh-oh.
They overworked her 100%. Doris is someone that was a Hall of Fame sideline reporter, could get down with Doris being on a broadcast, but when it's Doris every single week and every single night, you're going to burn people out.
I would agree with you that Doris gets a lot of run as a color analyst.
And they want her to get a lot of run.
Yeah. And I might agree with that. She might be overexposed.
Yeah.
Because she's really you guys remember when it was like, wow, Doris is flipping phenomenal.
Yeah, she's the guy or the gal that should play 25 minutes a night on an NBA roster and is going to give you 30 off the bench.
Yeah.
Put her in there for 45 minutes.
Oh, so she's Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah. She's going 10 of 50 and you know what I mean? Like that's what it is.
Skeet says I can't take it anymore. Yeah, I know. And that's but this is the Holly Rowe thing. Right? If we're talking about broadcasters, it's a Holly Rowe thing.
But the difference is, this is a very distinct difference in my opinion. Holly Rowe is just not for everybody. Doris Burke is for everybody and their sister. The problem is if you overexpose her, you get burned out.
Yes.
That's the problem.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Kanai Johnson, what's up, KJ? He says, I don't like Holly. I don't know why, but I feel like her and Bailey don't get along, and you can see it at times. Well,
you can see it and you can feel it.
I think Thurl.
Sure.
But I'm a huge Thurl guy.
Oh, Thurl's amazing.
I love Big T.
How do you not get along with Thurl Bailey?
Yeah,
he's
that's the thing.
Class human being.
But it's Alema Harrington, right? How do you not like Alema Harrington? How do you not like Thurl Bailey?
Yeah, dude.
Why are you forcing Holly Rowe into the broadcast? Because as much as it drives me crazy listening to Bowler, I can take Bowler for a half. He becomes too much of a homer. Holly Rowe makes that broadcast unlistenable.
Yeah.
Because she will not say anything but rah, they're awesome. Oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, we're down 30. This is amazing. Wow. And it makes me crazy.
Well, there was the summer league when she was holding up the jerseys and almost liking the jerseys. It's like nobody was really liking those jerseys, even though I think I've come around to those.
Didn't we talk?
Threads.
Hey, I'm the yellow one has grown on me substantially. The black one, it's hard not to like the black jersey, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I hate the white one. Whatever that white thing is.
I think it's more of an ice white. Like it's a different shade of white.
Totally garbage. Oh, yeah. Thank you. So I am not colorblind.
Yeah.
Well, I think we talked about this on the show. It doesn't look normal like white to me.
It's eggshell instead of gloss.
Yeah. Like it doesn't look normal to me. You know, like,
it's not a
by the
normal
way,
shade of white.
This thing with Kyrie Irving is turning into something now. This is...
Yeah, he's going to be back Sunday.
Did you guys see what Kevin Durant said? And I know you did because we spent time talking about it in the car yesterday. Kevin Durant talked about why he demanded a trade from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And he basically said, yeah, we weren't being prepared. I didn't like the way we were practicing. I didn't like we weren't doing one-on-one time. I wasn't getting any film study, and we weren't practicing well, so I didn't want to be here.
Yep.
And essentially, it makes it sound like he's the one that got Steve Nash fired.
He is. He is.
And at least he wears it.
And that's the responsibility of a guy like Kevin Durant. That's the responsibility of Steph and Bron and Giannis.
But I'm telling you, I don't think it's that far-fetched anymore to say, and I think Matt Nahagian, the program director at 95.7 The Game in San Francisco, tweeted this, so it's not mine. But I do think when we get to the end of Kevin Durant, we're all going to look back and say he should have never left Golden State.
Correct.
I think that his legacy has been forever damaged by this whole, whatever this disaster in Brooklyn's going to be.
Yeah.
But if they let Kyrie Irving play another game in Brooklyn, I think he will never recover. KD will never recover his legacy. Because what he's been doing since then is not about Jacques Vaughn. It's about Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
Since Kyrie got suspended, Kevin Durant's been a far better player.
Yeah.
And I think it's a huge mistake.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, whatever. Eric and Raleigh says, be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
And he says, that's Kevin Durant's fault, though. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Jaron Eccles, wasn't a big fan of the jerseys at first, but I'm coming around to them, especially the black ones with the amazing court. Jaron, oh my God.
Yeah.
The court that they run out, have you've been to the game. You were at the game.
I was at the Knicks game this past Tuesday.
You were. That court that they rolled out, because you were at opening night too, right?
Yeah.
That court they rolled out on opening night, is that their full-time court now? Like, is that the one they use every game?
Yeah, sure.
Well, when they're going to wear the purple, they're going to have the purple court out.
The mountain one,
with the old logo, and then when they're with their black, or the other ones are probably going to go with the court with the black and the logo in the middle.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think it is. Yeah, I think it's. I truly, the only thing that I like more than that court is barbecue pit stop. Like, I mean, I love Barbecue Pit Stop, which is why you should go to any of their 5 Utah locations. Logan, Layton, Salt Lake City over in Murray across from the mall. We were just there yesterday. Lehigh, and of course our good friends down in St. George. And it's not that you get the Yoder or the Traeger or the Big Green Egg. It's not that you get every barbecue spice rub seasoning that you could ever want from a man. It's that the guys that work at Barbecue Pit Stop are amazing. They are just, Steve, who owns the Lehigh store, is, you want to talk about entrepreneurs and on this whole thing we talked about with, starting your own life and doing your own thing and not collecting a paycheck and being your own man. Steve at the Barbecue Pit Stop, the things he's doing in the barbecue community are phenomenal. But that's the caliber of guy that you get when you go to any of their stores. That Logan store, if you're ever up in Logan, don't go to see Aggie Tears. Go to the Barbecue Pit Stop in Logan because that is the nicest store I've ever been in.
Yep.
But they're all great, and all the guys that work there. And if you are going to smoke a turkey breast, get to Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com, and ask them for advice. Because Clinton in the Lehigh store makes the best turkey breast I've ever had off a smoker. Like, I mean, it is truly remarkable.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Yeah. Tyson, are you a smoker or a charcoal briquette guy? Neither? Both?
Probably the second option.
Barbecue briquettes, really? Maybe we need to get you the hookup. Put a Traeger Ironwood 885 in your backyard, and I bet you'll never buy another bag of charcoal briquettes.
Well, nobody's given me a free one yet, so it's
we can help you with that. If you go to bbqpitstop.com, tell me you heard about it on the Monty Show. Before we get out of here, what was HOAs?
Yeah.
Dude. First of all, I understand HOAs are necessary.
No, they're not.
But that's the question.
No, they're not.
You don't think they're necessary?
They're not necessary.
Okay, so I live in South Jordan, and the question is, if the HOA goes away, will my neighbor trim his bushes? Will he cut his grass? Will he paint his house? That's why HOAs are here. And HOAs are here because, like, I don't live in a big neighborhood, but I live in a neighborhood where there are lights. So somebody's got to pay for the lights, and they water the park at the end of our street.
They salt your sidewalks, and they trim your bushes until they don't.
Sometimes. They rarely do that. The question is, are HOAs necessary? Tyson, do you live in, where are you at? Kearns? Do you guys have an HOA?
I don't think so.
You don't. See, you're one of the lucky ones.
I'm not in some nice gated community. It's like the grasses aren't necessarily green. We don't have too many trees right next to the high school. I wouldn't say it's gritty, but it's
keeping it real.
We're blue collar.
Yeah, absolutely. Be glad you don't have an HOA. I got a notice in the mail the other day that my HOA is going up $3 a quarter. Now that might seem like no big deal, but I get absolutely nothing out of my HOA. And I'm not kidding, nothing.
Yeah.
They don't trim my bushes but once a year. What is trimming your bushes once a year going to do? It forces them to grow through my screens. Now I got to buy new screens, right? They don't paint my house. They don't shovel nine storms out of 10. They never shovel my sidewalk, and they're supposed to.
They don't pick up the leaves.
They don't pick up leaves. They don't do it. I don't know what my HOA does.
Are we clear on that?
But my HOA is like $400 a quarter. Yeah. It's over $100 a month.
Nice mortgage payment.
And they raised my HOA fee.
Again.
For the second time in a year.
Cold-blooded, clean, methodical, and thorough.
It's terrible. Brian Hornbeck says HOAs are terrible. They are. Alex Chacon says HOAs are a scam. If it's your property, do what you will with it. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I don't think it helps my property value in South Jordan. I don't. I think South Jordan's a really nice place to live, but it's so frustrating. Brett Burnett says, my HOA creates value rather than just taking money and being a pain. Best HOA on the planet. I wish my HOA created value.
Yeah, and I wish I had $1 million, but I don't. And 9 out of 10 HOAs are a scam.
Whatever. Brett Burnett also says, you guys are making me hungry again.
Yeah, I'm starving right now.
All right, what are we going to eat?
Something, because I'm dying.
Okay, well, have you been, Tyson, to the Beto's over here?
I don't think I've been to that particular one, but I've been to some other ones.
They're good.
You're thinking about that big breakfast burrito.
Oh my God, dude.
Yes, Tyson. Yes, I am. I don't know what I want for breakfast, but I am hungry today.
Yeah.
And we have hockey tonight, by the way. Again, you guys.
Dude, come out, please.
The building is remarkable. And if you want tickets, DM me. I'm happy to give you tickets. Or DM Tyson. Ask Tyson for tickets. You're the high roller here. Ask Tyson for tickets.
Ask Jared Youngman for tickets. That's what I pretty much have to do. Is like, hey, Jared, can I get some tickets?
Yeah, like I'm telling you, if you guys are not in the building tonight, you're crazy. It is the Jumbotron, the ribbon boards, the scoreboards at the end. This place is going to be lit. The Idaho Steelheads are in town tonight. Tomorrow is Pooch on the Pond. What is Sunday? Sunday's at 3 o'clock.
Sunday's
face-off.
at 3 o'clock. I mean, past years it was 1 o'clock, so it's 2 hours later this year. So I could at least watch the early football game.
Yeah,
and watch the early kickoff.
There you go. Oh, Ogies. Yes, Neville.
Ogies is so good, dude.
Good Lord. Let's see. Jan was great. K. Nurin says Jan was great. Alex Chacon says, get Alice's Kitchen for breakfast. Tyson, have you had Alice's Kitchen?
No, I haven't.
I have not had Alice's Kitchen either. Maybe I'll have to look that up. Brett Burnett is going to make us jealous by saying HOA provided TV, internet, movies, great get-together barbecues, Easter hunts, yard sales as a group, only $90.
All right.
He's got the one good HOA.
Yeah, I was gonna say, come on, guy. Come on, guy.
Exactly. He's got the one good
Jesus.
HOA. Hey, as always, thanks so much to our partners on this show, the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com, our guys at Barbecue Pit Stop, our guys at TridayTrading.com. Great. Hey, really thank you for humoring the Tri-Day Trading Conference. We got off the rails. Dude, that was an awesome conversation we had. Thank you so much for sharing your feelings on that. TridayTrading.com/Monty, Quick Quack Car Wash. Use the promo code Monty25 at Papa Murphy's Pizza. We'll have our lock and a big, big pick on Oregon and Utah. No Bo Nix. It looks like he's out. We'll tell you the final score tomorrow. Jake, before I put up the graphic.
Right.
Tyson, thanks for coming in.
It's good to be here. You know, I'm kind of looking forward to tonight's game.
Me too. Fun. You think? Make sure you go right now and subscribe to the Utah Grizzlies YouTube channel. Tyson and I will have the call of the game tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. Come on out. Get tickets. DM me. Happy to hook you up or go to UtahGrizzlies.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.